Chiefs Kingdom. It's Wednesday night, Wednesday War Room. Welcome. Steve, what's going on?
What's up, ACU crew? Same old stuff, man. It's been a day. Good to be here hanging out with you fellas talking about football. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm ready to do.
Big news just in the past few hours.
Giant news.
John Ross hanging up the cleats. He wasn't at the practice this morning. They said he was excused.
He's quitting.
Excused by the team. Yeah, I wonder what happened. Like, did he get injured? They're not really saying. At least I've not read anything yet. I don't know if he got injured again. He had to.
Possibly.
Because they put him on IR, whatever. I think he just looked at the wide receiver room and he was like, look, we don't have a true number one here. I'm going to have to play a lot this year. I ain't ready for it. I'm out. No,
it wasn't that.
I'm playing.
I think it was probably another injury, or maybe he just realized it ain't going to work, And if he can't make it work with Andy Reid and the Chiefs, then it's time to hang it up, man.
We knew Andy run a top-notch hard camp. We didn't know it was going to make John Ross quit in 3 days.
He's going to retire.
No,
I'm done with this.
I don't think it's anything like that, though. I think he's hurt himself again, or he just realizes that, man, his body's just not going to cooperate.
Right, that'd be my guess. I just think it's insane that they're actually putting him. People were actually putting him on the 53-man roster because they thought that was like, what are you even thinking?
Complete ignorance. I was talking to somebody about that today, and I was like, this is the same. Dude, every year in the offseason, you had this group of sports writers, this group of talking heads, this group of media, this group of this, telling us John Ross was the one to watch out for. John Ross was the dark horse 53. And we're sitting here like, you're talking about John Ross, always injured John Ross. And you tried to crap on some bread and tell me it was a bologna sandwich. And they do this all the time. And Steve, will anybody just pay attention sometimes and we'll just talk truth? I know it's not, it comes off as just sounding negative sometimes, but it's just reality. We're just trying to make you guys face reality. Like sometimes just pay attention. John Ross.
Well,
lose the hype a little, man.
Our ACU crew here, they voted that John Ross was the one that would never, ever make the roster. So,
they did.
I mean, they're on the same page as we are.
Well, the ACU crew listens. The ACU crew knows what they're talking about. This is a good group. Everybody else out there, a bunch of slap nuts, thinking John Ross is going to be on the roster. Do you realize people were saying John Ross was going to beat Richie James? I heard that. Somebody put that out as their first initial 53-man. Richie James was out. John Ross was in. Who did that?
Well, why? What made them think that?
Him.
I don't know what makes people think that. Like, just because a receiver joins the Kansas City Chiefs, that all past injury history is just irrelevant. Oh, we have a great staff. Right. They can't perform miracles.
I hope. I don't want to curse the guy or anything, but I'm hoping that Kadarius Toney's career doesn't kind of end up like John Ross. Like a lot of talent, but he just can't get it together. And I don't think it will, and I don't want to curse him. I don't want to say it is. It's a big overreaction to go to that. But, I mean, it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility. As people that talk about sports and just talk amongst ourselves and different things, it's like you have to have that thought, and you got to talk about that thought. Maybe that happens, and that's why we say Kadarius Toney's got to take care of himself. You really do, or you're going to turn into that really quick. You get old quick. Believe me, when I hit 40, I can't even get out of the bed.
Well, I already did that, and I'm at 38, so the thing about it is, man, like you said, excuse me, it's just kind of sad, that a guy had all that talent and could have really made a career out of it, and it's just like they can't get over the injury bug, man. It just sucks. It does suck for him, but it was not unexpected whatsoever. So, like I said, the guys that were thinking that he was going to somehow make the squad, I think they were out in some kind of weird la-la land or something, because it was pretty obvious, even when the Chiefs signed him, it was like a long shot, right? Like they were just going to see if he could maybe get it together, but they probably knew as well. I mean, they didn't lose anything by exploring the option. So, I mean, I think
the Chiefs wanted to see what they could do. They give him a shot. It wouldn't have surprised me if maybe his people didn't come to them. Be like, hey, you got a spot for me. Maybe I can come on for cheap. We'll try to get a career revived. But it is what it is. I wish him the best. And to be honest, he's pretty young. So it kind of sucks if he really loves the game and he wants to play and his body just don't let him do it. Kind of sucks, man. It's a sad story, but moving on, I guess, from John Ross, I think we can move on. I think everybody's been saying Justin was the superior Ross. He kind of proved that today. If you guys watched our video, man, today, we highlighted this amazing catch he had, this one-handed, just beautiful ball by Patrick Mahomes right over the shoulder. The warden, Trent McDuffie, was all over him. We said like a dumbass on Chase Rice, or Jamar Chase. I don't know why I call him Chase Rice. The country music singer. I always mix him up. Like, they're so similar. Like, they look identical, by the way. No, but I don't know why I always say that. But yeah, beautiful ball. And he just made it look so easy. And we pointed out that nobody on the sidelines even reacted to it. So like Justin Ross, I've got names going wild today. Justin Ross.
Well, there's too many Justins and too many
Rosses.
Many
Johns and too many
Watsons.
Rosses.
And there's all kinds of weird stuff. I've noticed that too. But no, we all get what you're saying, Mike. Justin Ross, man, he sky's a limit for Justin Ross. We all know that. Patrick Mahomes even said it. He's just got to stay healthy too. It's another one of those things, man. We don't want him to end up being a guy that can't get it together because he can't stay healthy, because we know that he has all that injury history as well. His medical scared off everybody in the NFL 7 times, Mike, except for the Chiefs. They took him on that eighth pick, sort of.
It's probably more than that. Then we have like 20 picks that draft.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The proverbial 8th round of UDFAs. But yeah, man, it's same with him. But I think there's definitely a connection with him and Mahomes. And like I said in the podcast, if you guys didn't get to watch that, make sure you go catch that like immediately after this. But yeah, it was Trent McDuffie covering him, and he was all over him. He's right on his hip. Yeah. And those are the kinds of catches that Justin Ross is going to have to make, because he's not a big separation guy. He's never been. And it's good to see it. I saw it's still early. There's no pads on. Maybe it could have been contested more if there were pads on. But either way,
yeah,
it's encouraging just to see that there's somewhat of a chemistry there. And he's out there getting work in, because, I mean, let's face it, man. Ever since Justin Ross came along as a UDFA, he's been like a unicorn, right? Like, he hadn't been on the field.
Well, look, everybody said he was building good chemistry with Mahomes in Texas. I mean, Pat Mahomes Sr. actually said that was somebody to watch out for. And about the time Pat Mahomes come out and said that, watch out for Justin Ross, Patrick really likes him, this and that, that's when everybody started getting weird about him and writing him off. It was so strange. But yeah, it's pretty weird. Dez with a 5-bomb. Dez kicking it off tonight with a 5-bomb. We appreciate you, Dez. Dez getting it rolling. We appreciate the $5. We'll put that to use with something, maybe an iced coffee, maybe some new graphic designs, something. It could be, or it could just be me, but I'm frustrated with the Chris Jones deal is not done. Seems less likely to get done as time passes. You would think that. And yeah, it's pretty frustrating, but I kind of feel like they're just, if it's even close, Chris Jones could be just like, hey, man, I don't want to go to camp. I'm old. I'm getting older. I don't want to be out there. It's hot.
I'm not worried about it getting done. It's going to get done. They have to make it work, right? Yeah. I guess it's the frustrating, we've talked about this word a lot in the last few days, and he said he's frustrated about it. I think the most frustrating part is the fact that it kind of screwed us on free agency, because that is what was going to open up money for us to maybe add some different weapons or vets or anything like that. Was he had to get this extension done, free up some money.
Chief Kelsey's here, so it could have maybe got D-Hop for old Chief Kelsey.
Right. But no, Mahomes, he's restructured and redone his contract 15 million different times to free up money. So yeah, it was a little frustrating that Jones and Veach couldn't get it done early on and maybe help improve the team. But it is what it is, and I'm not worried about it.
How long did it take Chris Jones, Steve, last time to sign it? About what day did he come into camp? Because I know he held out of camp last time.
What's weird is I actually read something that said that he had never missed a day of camp.
Yeah, I don't think he did, because remember Andy said it was disappointing.
So what I'm thinking is, like, that time we went to camp and maybe it was the first day of vets and he was actually there. I don't know, but I know it was a contract year. It was 4 years ago?
Maybe he was just tired. Maybe we just didn't see him. Maybe he was in the medical tent. I don't know. Yeah, but I remember he wasn't there. Like, I don't remember him being there. Maybe he was there in spirit and they counted it.
No, he was there actually, but that was the word on the street that day was Chris Jones was finally there.
Word on the street, Christopher Pierce. Maybe what it was is he didn't appear for like the rookie vet, like whatever, like the rookie QB thing.
Yeah, I mean,
not all vets come into that.
Yeah, no one does the voluntary stuff.
I don't know.
Right? Unless they have to.
I faintly remember with you that he just wasn't there, but apparently he was. Whatever. Thanks for the question and the 5 days. You're the man. As always.
Appreciate you, bud.
I also see you on Twitter, Des. I see you on Twitter every once in a while. I appreciate you over there too.
Right. If you guys don't care, take a second to go hit that like button for us. It helps us get more people in here, and we appreciate that. And also, if you're new to the channel and you're just stopping by, make sure to get in the chat and hang out with our awesome ACU crew. Good people in the chat. Hit that sub button and hang out with us more often if you love the Kansas City Chiefs. So we've been grinding. We've been putting out as much content as we can lately. Dude, now that camp started.
Grinding. Tired, Steve. We're tired.
I was going to say I'm kind of tired.
We won't get a day off tomorrow, but the players do. Players don't practice tomorrow. Everybody's off on Thursday, and then on Friday they're putting the pads on. I can't wait till they put the pads on. The pads are the great equalizer. All the camp hype goes away. Maybe Rashee Rice buckles a little bit when he has Justin Reed coming across the middle laying down on him. He might not make them catches.
So we'll today was that's what I'm saying. Today was the last day without the pads.
Right.
So
I don't think he's going to do that.
The good stuff's getting ready to start.
Yeah, me too. I think do you think Rashee Rice is probably one of those dogs out there that catches the ball. He's just looking for people to hit. I feel like he just want to lay the wood on somebody. You don't think
he's the exact opposite with Rashee Rice?
What? Did you watch his college film? He was a beast. He looked like a running back with the ball in his hand when he caught it. That was his selling point.
He's gonna jump.
You think he's gonna jump up and lay down?
Does he strike you as a yards after catch?
Oh yeah. He's built like a brick house.
But I feel like the way he plays, though, he's always going after the jump ball, and those don't normally result in much more yardage.
One of the reasons I think Andy and Patrick and Veach liked him in the first place is because at SMU, he caught a lot of like bubble screens, short things, and he would take them to the house. He would take those screens and just look for people to hit. So I was appreciative of him. Ep with the membership. Thank you, Ep. Welcome to the Matt Castle Club, the ACU crew. The old Matt Castle. Who doesn't? Everybody said that was a slight. They said nobody wants to be Matt Castle, and I said, come on now.
Well, I mean, if you were going to tier the quarterbacks, it was kind of you had to put Alex Smith in the middle, and you had to put Patrick Mahomes at the top. So you're sitting there thinking like you can't slight Trent Green and throw him into the mix.
Look, could we have went Alex Smith as the lowest tier, and then put Lenny Dawson as the middle tier, and then Mahomes as the top tier? Would that have been more fair and just kicked Castle out of the club?
I don't know. I feel like people would. I don't know. I don't know if you want to put Lenny Dawson in the mid category.
Right. But he's not GOAT over Mahomes. I mean.
Well, no. But he was the original. He's the OG.
Yeah, he's the OG. Man, the game was so different back then. It's crazy how different it is. Could you imagine if you could have had a time machine, would have took Patrick Mahomes back and dropped him in the 60s? And watched him play football back then. Then again, they'd have just been like, don't do that stuff. You got to hand it off.
Right. Well, people try to compare different generations of football to each other, and it's really difficult to do. You can't do it. Yeah. I mean, think about this for a second. The 85 Bears, supposedly the best defense of all time, right?
Yeah, they're up there with the steel curtains.
So would you put Andy Reid's Chiefs offense, last season, the best one that they've had, against them? Do you think they would have been able to stop them?
Here's what I'll say.
I just wonder. You know what I'm saying? It's so hard to. The game's so different.
The game changes so much, and everything's so built around like modern offenses, and the rules are different. If we'd have went back and played against the 85 Bears with the 85 Bears rules in place, they would have beat the hell out of us. I think they would have kicked the crap out of us. Then again, maybe if you could break away without getting destroyed or, just getting Mahomes absolutely pulverized in the backfield.
It was a much more
you may have been able to trick
physical game back then, I guess you could say.
Yeah, the physicality, I think, is a little different.
Right. People now, like the players nowadays, they don't.
But could you imagine? I guess this is why the league has to evolve, though, because could you imagine if you had the same rules in place and the physicality of the 85, the NFL rule book with like the modern day athletes that train as much as they do and bigger, faster, stronger? Like you could probably end people's careers.
It's crazy. Or just think about, I mean, even like Bernard Pollard, back in the early 2000s, just knocking people's heads, ringing people's heads. It's just different ball game, man.
Right. Jeff Moore says he just saw Veach leaving Missouri Western State University in its sweet-ass Shelby Cobra Mustang. He turned the corner and got on it. Man, that thing sounds good. Wait, was he really there? Somebody needs to track him down and tell him to get on this Chris Jones deal. Get out of your Mustang.
Well, I mean, he hasn't even talked to the media yet, has he?
It's kind of strange, isn't it? It's kind of weird we haven't heard nothing about camp?
It. I mean, most of the time, I feel like they've already talked to him by now. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we know Mark Donovan talked to him, but I don't think Veach talked that day. We haven't heard a word about it. I wonder if Veach has done any interviews or anything.
I don't know. He might be avoiding it. He don't want to answer the Chris Jones question, so he's just avoiding it like the plague. I wouldn't blame him.
Probably. I would too, man. What are you going to do? I do think, though, back to the whole point of this was the John Ross retiring and Rashee Rice stepping up. We're seeing Sky Moore step up today.
Well, it opens more doors now for Nico Remigio and Kakoa Crawford and Ty Freifogel.
Well, I mean, it even opens doors for the guys like Richie James that people were kind of forgetting. And now, it's like, okay, well, Richie James has got to be a lock at this point, don't he?
I don't know. I don't think John Ross was putting any pressure on Richie James.
No, but I'm just saying,
I feel like John Ross was putting more pressure on some of those other guys.
John Ross.
Oh, you mean with Kadarius Toney?
John Ross was putting pressure on our training room to get Kadarius Toney healthy. Maybe he retired so they could focus on Kadarius Toney.
Well, you got to look at the silver lining of the Kadarius Toney thing. Like, if he's going to be injured all the time, at least he got injured on the first day, right? So we can go ahead and get things in place.
Hey, I'm fine with it. I would have rather him.
That's all there is to it. So,
right, wouldn't you have rather him be injured now than December, I guess?
Right, after he was like the most integral part of the offense. Like, right. I don't know. Like you said, it opens up doors for people like Sky Moore, MVS. It opens up doors for Rashee Rice big time because he's a rookie and they normally don't get much playing time in the Andy Reid system. But now he might. They might have to go that route. So lots of doors opened up by all this, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. And I think that Kadarius Toney will be back. I'm not worried about the timeline on when he'll be back. I'm more worried about how he's going to recover and will there be a re-injury. Like, that's my concern. Like, when he actually does get back to the field, how long is he going to play before something else? That's the big thing that I think everybody's worried about.
Right. Chris Bass, just don't put Richie back to take punts. Nay. Richie has said he wants to be punt returner 1, and he actually worked on it today. He was catching punts. Him and Nico, he is going to be the lead punt returner, it looks like. Richie's going to be our punt guy. If it pans out that way, smart on Richie James's part, because that pretty much makes him a roster lock, in my opinion. If he's a serviceable 4 or 5 wide receiver, and then now you add that he is your punt return 1 guy.
So what's the problem with Richie James as a punt returner?
I guess because just people know that they take a lot of injuries.
That's true. But I mean Richie James,
that's basically it. But I mean, look.
I understand you need all the guys you can get, but somebody has to do it. Somebody has to do it, right?
Yeah, it's part of the game, man. We don't need them to take it out of the games. They're trying.
I would much rather have Richie James doing it than Sky Moore or Trent McDuffie or whoever the heck else they were trying to throw in there last season. Yeah. Just my opinion.
Nico's a sleeper. Nico was working second team punt return. Dude, if Kadarius Toney were to not come back for week 1, and there's just a slight bit setback, and they're like, look, he's going to miss 1, 2, 3 games. Let's just put him on IR for 4 weeks. If they was to do that, start him on the PUP list, Nico has a real shot of making that 6, because they'll take 6 still, because Toney will not count as the spot, so technically that's 7. I don't know who he beats, though. Does Nico? I mean, in my opinion, I would almost take Nico over Justin Watson just for sheer, like, what is it, like, just athletic ability? But they're never going to do that. That's too much of a. That's too much of a. It's too much out of left field because Justin Watson is a.
Well, I mean, you're already taking a risk, putting Justin Ross on the roster, right? Because we have to see how that all plays out. So, I mean, I don't think you can get too crazy with it.
Right. What's up, Doug? Doug said, so far, 3 players you've been most impressed with so far in training camp, rookies and UDFAs included. I'll give one first. I've been really impressed with Najee Johnson. Najee Johnson's looking really good. We talked about it in our podcast today. Please go watch that after this if you haven't. Watch it tomorrow morning if you have to go to bed after this, but just watch that for us. It helps us a lot. But we talk about it. Najee was drafted in the 7th round. He kind of went to the practice squad. He lingered around. He got himself working on special teams. He worked with everybody. Now he's starting. He was taking first-team reps today over Jalen Watson. He was taking first-team reps over Josh Williams. It was him and Snead on the boundaries, and they had McDuffie in the slot. And when they drafted McDuffie, Steve, what did I tell you? I said he's instantly a top 3 slot corner in this league. I told you that, like, instantly when we drafted him. And a lot of people were like, you're crazy. And I was like, dude, I guarantee you within a year he's a top 3 slot corner. And now it looks like that's what they're going to use him for. That's big. But Najee getting first-team reps on the outside coming from a 7th-round pick. If Najee was to work out, Steve, last year's draft class could be one of the most epic draft classes there's ever been assembled. Like, straight up.
Yeah. I mean, it was a really good draft. But, I mean, we just had a lot of really good drafts, so it's kind of hard to go that far.
Who's impressed you?
Out of camp so far? Man, I want to go with one of the wide receivers. I'm kind of torn between which one to pick. I'll give it to Richie James, though. I was going to say Rashee Rice, but, I mean, Rice is coming in as a rookie. He's out there trying to impress just because he's a rookie. But Richie James was signed to come in here. And I think he's kind of took the bull by the horn so far, man. He's gotten there and made himself known. He has I don't know. You can just tell he wants to make the squad and he wants to make a difference. And I think that's something that Veach was looking for. I think that's why they've had their eye on Richie James for a while, just because of how he plays, his style. And then, of course, he's getting into the punt return. He's getting in the good graces of Dave Tobe. He's working it, man. He's doing what he needs to do.
Yeah. Third, you took Richie James. I'll go ahead and take I'll take Sky Moore and Rashee Rice. Let's just put them both on. Sky Moore, Rashee Rice. All of our wide receivers actually have stepped up. I really do think that. I think our receivers, we come into this and we were all a little scared. Then Kadarius Toney gets hurt. And we were all like, we don't have D-Hop. But maybe everybody putting pressure. These guys read this stuff, right? So maybe they've read all this and they're like, look, Chiefs Kingdom don't hate us. They still support us, but, there's not a lot of faith. And so, rightfully so. They haven't really proved themselves. So maybe they've all decided to come out and they're stepping it up a notch. Maybe we're holding them to the fire and making them work, and it's working. So who knows? I don't want to take any credit. Everybody take credit or whatever, but I just think all of our receivers have stepped up. I'm very proud of them, to be honest, to this point.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're not blind to all this stuff, man. They've heard the same stuff that we've heard. That we had to have another receiver, that our wide receiver room wasn't great. It wasn't as good as last year. Yeah, of course they want to squash that narrative. No doubt about it. That's probably just like a conversation they've had in the wide receiver room, probably brought up by the wide receiver coach. Like, hey, guys, no one's expecting you guys to be any good. Do something.
Yeah. Richie asked, Brian says Richie James is a super freak, by the way, and he is. He really is. Richie King, what's up, Richie? He says, when Wharton returns, do you think he can take over Derek Nottie? They're just two different guys. Nottie's always going to be more of like the run guy. I think him and Colburn's going to kind of substitute that, and I think Turk will do what Chris Jones does a lot. If Turk was healthy now, I don't think you would miss Jones as much. Like, don't get me wrong, Jones is great, but Turk Wharton is that athletic guy that's kind of built like him a little bit. It's not even comparable. Like, Jones is like a 99 on Madden, and Turk Wharton's like a 79.
Well, Turk Wharton's more of the smaller guy. Like,
right. But
what's his name
Turk
that
Wharton's
we had
good.
on that just got drafted? That's who I always compared Turk Wharton.
Kalijah Cansey.
Right. He's that type of guy. He's like a smaller guy that can, get after the quarterback. But the difference with Turk Wharton is he can bounce outside pretty easily.
Right. Lori, what's up, Lori? She asks, or she just says Prince is really good. I guess referring to the three rookies. Prince is another one that could be on a short list for who's impressed. Dude, I think the easier question would be who hasn't impressed you. Like, and then in that regard, I'm going to say Kadarius Toney and John Ross. That's going to be my two receivers that haven't impressed me to this point. Just one's injury.
I got one that's probably a given.
What, hasn't impressed you?
Yeah.
Who?
Joshua Kane, though. He's like the punching bag, right?
Well, look, I'll say this in his defense. Till they put the pads on, the offensive defensive linemen are just in the background. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, we shared a thing of what's his name? Donovan Smith getting blown by Mike Dana the other day, and then Jeff Allen gets on Twitter and comes to his defense, and he's like, "No, he actually won that rep." No, he didn't. He grabbed him by the freaking head, and he almost ripped his face mask off. Like, he would have got a holding call. Like, an offensive lineman sticking up for an offensive lineman. Go figure. But yeah, everybody was like freaking out. They're like, "That's overreaction."
That was one of the problems with Smith last season, right? A lot of penalties.
And they were like, "That's overreaction. This is just a drill." Yeah, we know it's a drill, but it's not overreaction to watch footwork. That's what you want to look at with linemen is footwork. If Mike Dan is blowing by you like you're standing still, there might be a little problem.
The same people were the ones that were making fun of Orlando Brown Jr. last camp for the same kind of stuff.
It's weird. Yeah. I don't even know why. Brenda's in the house. KL368 is in the house. They're throwing some catch-ups and legendaries out. You know what? I like that. Scott Crosser, what's up, Scott? He says, do you know if Dana is playing inside too or just outside? Dana is going to play all up and down that line. But I think, to me, from what I'm watching, all the clips that I'm getting, all the stuff I'm hearing, Mike Dana looks faster this year than he has. I think Mike Dana this year could be a turning point in Mike Dana's career. I think Mike Dana could get to double-digit sacks if everything lines up for him pretty well. Mike Dana, dude, he flat out is Justin Herbert's worst nightmare every time we play the Chargers. Like, I like Mike Dana, Steve.
Yeah, Dana's a pretty underrated guy. Like, he's not really just like broke through, but he's always solid when he's on the field. And not just Dana, but I think a lot of our guys can move up and down the line, play inside, outside. And I think that's what Spags loves. He loves it. He's always done it. He did it way back in New York. He continues to do it with the Chiefs, and we'll see more of it this season.
Yeah, we'll answer one more, and then we got a special guest to throw at you guys. Gary Holland asked, Steve and Mike, do you see the cornerback and being underrated this year for the defense this year? Do you see cornerback being underrated? No. Our corners are fine. We're very solid, unless I'm just not understanding your question. I think our cornerbacks are completely fine. Brad says he'll donate $20 if we have a 1,000-yard wide receiver. Brad, don't stop there. Let's go 200. I mean, that's a pretty safe bet. I don't think we're going to have many. Does Kelsey count?
I think a receiver will. What's that, Mark? I mean, you're going to have Mahomes throwing between 5,000 and 6,000 freaking yards, dude. You're going to get somebody that gets 1,000 yards there.
Right.
Can't all go to Kels.
Right. Okay, well, we got a guest coming in. He's the radio voice for the Missouri Western State University Griffins. He's a sports director at 680 KFEQ. His name is Tommy. I want to get this right. I'm going to get it right. Rezac. Is this right? Here we go. We're going to add him. We're going to ask him. Tommy, what's up, brother?
Get him in the stream.
You just clicked it off. What's up, man?
Hey guys. Yeah, thanks for having me. No, that was about as close as I've heard for a first attempt on a pronunciation. Most people don't get that CH sound at the end. It's Rezac. It's like a weird A type of sound. Yeah, it's Bohemian. I've been told that's how it's supposed to be pronounced, so I've just kind of rolled with it. So yeah,
awesome.
Tommy Rezac. Yeah,
Rezac.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
Mike, you were close.
Rezac. I was kind of close, better than what I could have called you. I think the other day before I looked into you, and because we found your stuff on Twitter and stuff, and we noticed that you're at camp. I'll look at some of your stuff, and I'm like, this guy, he tweets out some good info, man. So I had to tell him that he tweeted out good stuff. I appreciated his work, and we brought up a few of your tweets on air, and I accidentally called you Tommy Rezac the first time, and I was like, you know what, that can't be right, Rezac. But I bet you hear that a lot, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Rezac is kind of I know a lot of people that have the same last name. I lived in a town in Minnesota before coming here, and there was actually someone who lived on my street. They had the same spelling of the last name, but they pronounced it Rezac. And then there were a few. So I'm from Nebraska originally, and I went to the University of Nebraska, and I knew a few people my age that I wasn't related to, but they had the same spelling of last name, Rezac, and they would say Rezac, and I'm like, that's not the real pronunciation. They'd be like, yeah, I know, but like that's easier. But to be completely honest, like coming up through this industry, it's like you're expected to get every athlete's name exactly right, and I understand that. And so it's like, hey, if I'm supposed to get those names right, I want to get my own name right. So to me, like Rezac has always been like the true like Czech Bohemian pronunciation. So.
Right, sweet.
I didn't even try it. I just let Mike do it, so I'm glad he was close.
Well, we had Haley Lewis on here. I don't know if you're familiar with Haley. She worked with the Chiefs last year and stuff. She couldn't pronounce Charles Omenihu's last name on air, and she was like, "I can't do Omenihu. I hate it." And I was like, "Okay, calm down." But we get the pain with the trying to announce these athletes' names. But so you work with the Missouri Western State Griffins. You're still the radio voice, right?
Yeah, going on year 3 of doing that. Moved to St. Joseph in December of 2020. So yeah, coming on almost 3 years of living here. This is my third Chiefs training camp covering here, and really, 2021 was so odd because there was still so many restrictions in place. But the last couple of years, it's been phenomenal. Like full crowds and full access. Like no real. Not near as many hoops to jump through and barriers in terms of coverage and things like that. So yeah, it's really cool. Like it's St. Joseph, we're kind of in the shadow of Kansas City a little bit, and so for our kind of working class city of 80,000, kind of in rural Northwest Missouri, for us to get this like training camp and in this era of Chiefs football, it's really cool. It's great for the university. It's great for the city. I think for as long as Andy Reid is the head coach, I think training camp at Missouri Western is safe. And yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I tell people that like my main beats, like my main responsibilities up here are like the Griffins and then area high school and then kind of Chiefs Royals fall secondary to that simply because I'm not in Kansas City and, there's a lot of media that cover the Chiefs and Royals. Like, our station, KFDQ, is a Chiefs and Royals affiliate, so we're very tuned into what's going on. But training camp is about the most hands-on I get with the Chiefs during the year, and so I always find that Chiefs personnel and also like the regular beat writers, like the people that cover Chiefs for a living, when I come in there and talk to them, and everyone's always just so welcoming. Like they don't act like that they're bigger than us or better than us. Like It's always just such a welcoming environment. Like I got to ask a few questions last year, and everyone's just it's just a good vibe when training camp's here, and it just elevates the city and the university so much. And you get in those dog days, it gets hot, and it can feel a little bit like repetitive sometimes, but at the same time, it's like stop and pause and think the defending world champs are in Missouri Western's backyard just slinging the ball around. So yeah, it's a special time of year for sure.
It's a nice perk to the job, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, admittedly, like I said, growing up in Nebraska, like college sports, like are my game. Like that's kind of where I hope to like end up for my career. But like getting a pro team, getting a taste of the pros, and like I said, the best team in the NFL right now, like getting to see the best quarterback in the game and one of the best coaches in the game, and just see them do their thing and just kind of go through the grind and watching like a championship kind of come into form. Like, I mean, everyone says like the road to the Super Bowl is like the 2020 Super Bowl. It started in training camp in 2019 in St. Joe. And so it's a really critical time of year. So it's just fun to like watch the beginnings of that.
Right. Well, we're going to talk about some Chiefs because Tommy, as he mentioned, he gets to go down. He gets to watch practice. He gets to be in the pressers, different things probably. So he's going to get all that. So if you got any questions, he will gladly do it. We brought him in because we wanted somebody it's very select media on some of these days, and not a lot of people can get in. So we're pretty much living and dying by Twitter and what people releases and different things. But he actually has eyes on it, so it's pretty cool. We'll bring up Dez first. Dez, thanks for the $2, Dez. And he asked a question.
Appreciate you, Dez.
What has Smith looked like in camp? I'm assuming he's talking about Trey Smith and the offensive line. So we'll ask Tommy up here. They don't have pads on yet. They're not putting pads on until Friday. So they're going to get a day off tomorrow and put pads on Friday. So that's when the big ugly shine is when you put the pads on. Until now, it's the highlight catches and it's the Patrick Mahomes passes. So what has the offensive line and the defensive line and specifically Trey Smith, if you've paid attention to him, what do they look like so far? Because all we're seeing is mediocre like one-on-one drills.
Yeah. No, yeah, we're going to learn a lot, I think, come Friday and into the weekend. Hopefully we'll get some padded practices too. But I'd say the offensive line, the transformation there the last couple of years has really been amazing because obviously that position group got, a bit exposed. They were a bit injury prone in the 2021 Super Bowl. But since then, obviously, Brett Veach and company, they really went into that 2021 draft and got guys like Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey and said, we've got to really revamp. And what a quick turnaround. I mean, that went from a liability to a strength. I mean, you look at that starting five that's up there and, you got Lucas Niang now back fully healthy too. So there's a little bit of depth there. I think you got to feel good about Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey, 2-year draft picks a couple of years ago. And now, I mean, they're all pro. I mean, they're some of the best in the league. So I would say good. Creed Humphrey actually did remark today that Creed was asked, who gets most excited when the pads come on? And without a hesitation, he said Trey Smith gets pretty fired up to hit people when the pads come on. So, we'll learn a lot more. But you mentioned defensive line there for a second. I think that's maybe the more intriguing storyline right now. Again, not knowing a ton without pads. Obviously, we don't know how much longer Chris Jones is going to hold out. But, we talked to George Karlaftis today, and we've seen guys like Daniel Wise and Charles Omenihu get some first-team reps, and Derek Nottie, who's a guy that kind of worked his way up and really kind of paved his own way, had to kind of earn his stripes last year. I mean, it's kind of it's an interesting cast that's kind of been thrown into a unique situation. I mean, we know Chris Jones is going to play in 2023. We don't know when he's going to report to St. Joe, and we don't know how that contract's going to shake out. But that D-line, that's going to be interesting. I mean, a guy like, I think, Omenihu and Daniel Wise, when they're in those blocking drills against the Creed Humphreys and the Trey Smiths, I think that's going to be a really interesting battle. So, hard to say without pads, but, hopefully learn a lot more Friday.
Yeah, 100%. Can't wait till the pads come on, Steve, right? Because that is when
that's when you start figuring some things out, man.
Right.
Yeah.
The fun starts. We got 125 people in here right now. So if you want to help the channel and you want to move it along, give us a like so we can go out to more people. Also, hit that sub button, click that bell if you like Chiefs content. We're talking here with Tommy. I'm not going to say the name wrong, so I'm not even going to pronounce it again. We're just going to say Tommy R. Rezac.
Very, very close. Rezac. Yeah.
Rezac. I like it. Okay, we got it. Tommy Rezac. Hey, I like it. I'm going to remember it. If anything, I'll just write it down. Tommy, big thing. Well, we got two big storylines so far, and they're both kind of negative in camp. Chris Jones didn't show up. He's holding out. He's up to like 200K at the moment. And we got Kadarius Toney getting injured after 4 plays on punt returns and warm-ups. So what is your sense around you, other sports writers around you? I know we got Pete Sweeney out there. We got just a lot of guys out there. There's so many. But they're out there. They're watching. What's the sentiment on Chris Jones? Is everybody kind of on the same page that this Jones deal is still going to get done? Because we're hearing a lot of rumblings. Like Chiefs Kingdom is like, they're panicked. They think this is a Tyreek Hill moment. They're even talking about and preparing, we need to trade him. And we're thinking, that's insane. But so what's your thoughts on the Chris Jones deal? And then we'll talk about Kadarius Toney in just a minute. I'd love to hear the thoughts of like the room in general. Like, is it panic? Is it chill?
It somewhat reminds me of the Tyrann Mathieu situation where, like, when his contract came up, we heard Beach and Chiefs leadership say a lot like, keeping him here means a lot. Mathieu wants to stay here. They couldn't quite agree. He went on. Obviously, Tyreek Hill, very lucrative situation there. And obviously, he kind of, threw Mahomes and the whole team under the bus a little bit last year, which seemed a little, unnecessary and really unfounded. Yeah, as for Chris Jones, I mean, we heard a lot of just optimism, after OTAs into the off season. I remember Chris Jones came up like before the ring ceremony, like somebody asked either Clark Hunt or Brett Veach about it, and they're like, yeah, training camp's the deadline, like we want Chris Jones to be here, and I obviously I firmly believe they want him to be here, but I think part of it is like Chris Jones may want that Aaron Donald type of money. I think he's coming off the best season of his career. Obviously helped the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, had a terrific season, and so I think he wants to be paid. But the last, I think, what was it? Adam Schefter had reported earlier in the week that the two parties remain pretty far apart. So
yeah, they're trying to say 30 million per. That was the story.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting. You mentioned 200,000. That's $50,000 that he's being fined for every practice, and today was the fourth practice. So I don't know. I mean, there's not much. Andy Reid got asked about it, I believe, on Sunday, and he said there's been communication, but it sounds like communication's kind of hit a bit of a standstill. And what was it, 2 days ago, the morning it was raining, Chris Jones tweeted like "wakey wakey" or something.
Wakey wakey.
Right.
Yeah. So it seems a little cryptic right now. I mean, my gut feeling is like, how, it must be, first off, it must be nice to like just be fined $200,000. Like
Steve,
no big deal.
Steve said that today in the podcast. He was like, it must be.
I know, man.
It must be nice to throw away $200K like it's.
I was
nothing.
like, does it slightly piss you off that someone can just throw $200,000 out, burn it?
Yeah. But, yeah. So like that's so you wonder like how long can he play this game? And again, he has to play the 2023 season. So. Yeah, I mean, I think it's maybe a bit early to be talking about trading him, but at the same time, it went from really fairly optimistic a month ago, like, okay, we got time, training camp, we got some weeks to figure it out, to, where does this stand? Where do they find the middle ground? So, I kind of get the Chris Jones side of it, but at the same time, not everyone can be. There can only be one top-paid defensive tackle in the NFL, so there's always going to be a lot of people around the league unsatisfied. And but if you're Chris Jones, in my opinion, you can't be that upset. I mean, you did just win the Super Bowl. Like, obviously, I feel like his credibility has gone up. He's obviously a fan favorite. I mean, he's one of the most dominant at his position. Like, I think he will. He's not on a rookie contract. I mean, he's been around a long time. Like, he's going to get good money, I think. So. Yeah, I'm a little surprised at kind of the level of defiance, but I mean, that's just kind of the age we live in with quarterbacks and other positions making like record money for their position. So I don't know. Like I said, I feel like with pads coming on, I feel like that might be a little bit more incentive. Like, okay, if I show up, then it'll actually be meaningful reps and kind of put it to bed for a little while. But yeah, I mean. It's just going to be one of those things, like we're going to see him walking down the hill one morning and it'll get tweeted out and then, I assume he'll speak to the media at some point or something like that. So I think we'll learn more in the coming days. But, yeah, it's been it's kind of gone sour in a relatively short amount of time.
Do you think the extension announcement comes first or Chris Jones showing up to camp?
Gut feeling is showing up to camp. Again, I think just because, like, he's running up a tab here. The pads are coming on. Let's see, we got 19 practices, 4 down, 15 to go. So I would imagine, and, he's locked in for this coming season. So my gut feeling is he shows up first, but I think what the Chiefs would probably prefer is, get that deal out there, make it public, then he comes, and then there's no more question marks. If he comes and there's no extension announced, then that cloud is still kind of hovering over you. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Awesome. We got Lori Fox, who is an ACU crew member with the $4 super sticker. We appreciate you, Lori. Lori also said she was a new member. So we appreciate you very much, Lori, for being here. If you guys got any questions for Tommy, go ahead and throw them in the chat. We'll get them to him.
And Chris Wright with the 5 gifted also. We appreciate you, my man. And
awesome.
Make sure you guys have the gifting turned on. So just click on that little box and hit that you accept gifts. So
drop some ketchup bottles in the chat for our boy Chris Wright, because he loves the ketchup. Him and Mahomes out here ketchup and everything. Yeah, a lot of people are saying 200K. Well, here's my thoughts. What's 200K when you're asking for 30 million a year? Like,
right.
That's like your kids, you just go out to dinner and it's $100 and they're asking for a quarter for the gumball machine. It's like, I don't know about it. No, let's not. It's too expensive. You got gumballs at home, kid. You got gumballs at home. We didn't talk about it.
We have a Chris Jones at home too. Wise. What? That's our Chris Jones at home.
Stop. We're not even going to talk about that. Like, we don't want to talk about it. I mentioned Kadarius Toney. What's the sentiment about Kadarius Toney? Because a lot of people are saying, at first, Schefter reports that he had off-season surgery. We were like, what happened? How did this not get reported? why are the Chiefs keeping things secretive if that's supposed to be their wide receiver one? And then Kadarius Toney tweets that that's wrong. Parts of it is wrong. And then we find out from Andy he was actually doing it yesterday morning.
Yeah.
So it's cleaning up that surgery from 2022 on a little bit of cartilage. Cool. A lot of people are saying that's not a big injury or anything, and a lot of people are saying, well, as long as he's healthy by, Halloween, that's when it counts and this and that. But what is the feeling from you guys, again, the writers, everybody watching on the outsides, and the sentiment from coaches and everything? Is Kadarius Toney, are they watching him very closely, as in, we just seen John Ross retire today out of nowhere because he cannot stay healthy in his career, and we're afraid that Kadarius Toney could be on that path. Like, it's not starting great. What's the sentiment with him? Is this something they expect him to be back from fully, or do they just fully expect that he's going to miss 7 games this year at some point, and they're just going to deal with it? Like, that's just Kadarius Toney.
Well, it seems like when he first missed time, when he tweaked his knee there on Sunday, there wasn't a lot known then. And then when we heard from Travis Kelce on Monday, I feel like he kind of let slip. He's like, yeah, we got our fingers crossed, like, hope to have him back as soon as possible. But when they released the news that he had surgery, I mean, the latest I've seen is that, the expectation is to have him back ready by the start of the season. So, so probably not going to see him in any preseason action, which, no big deal there, I don't think. But I wouldn't be shocked if he's, questionable to start or misses a couple of games. Yeah, I don't think it's any reason to sound the alarm quite yet. I mean, I think Kadarius, when he came into the fold late last year, did a number of really good things on special teams and on offense. So, there's that argument. You mentioned wide receiver one. I mean, either he or Marquez Valdez-Scantling certainly make that argument. But, I think he's somebody that I think there's optimism there that he's going to be back sooner than later. Probably not going to see him the rest of camp and preseason, but everything I've seen and heard is that, back by the start of the year. So, again, Travis Kelce said, fingers crossed, we want him back as soon as possible. So, time will tell. Maybe he's held out a bit longer as a precaution, but I think he's still, by all accounts, going to be on the mend and have a fairly fruitful season coming up here. But, wide receiver was kind of a big topic today. I mean, because that's a position group that, in Chiefs Kingdom, it's had quite a bit of attrition with Tyreek Hill and then Mecole Hardman and Juju Smith-Schuster departing this past offseason. But, man, I mean, I think the big one you got to watch right now is Justin Ross. Now, obviously, injuries are a concern there, but, man, has he had a good camp, has he looked the part. And, Justin Ross, an extremely talented guy at Clemson who obviously his college career was cut short. And had he stayed healthy, I think he would have been a high draft pick. And so for the Chiefs to kind of pick him up under the radar, undrafted free agent, was on injured reserve all of last year. If he can stay healthy and if he's going to continue on the trajectory he's on, that could be a huge wild card for the Chiefs. And Rashee Rice looks the part. I mean, working mostly with the twos, but rotating in with the ones. And, man, is he quick. And Matt Nagy had a lot of good praise for him today.
Yep.
So I think there's certainly a lot of optimism at that position. Richie James, we heard from today. That's a guy that, he's had his struggles early on in his career, but still young enough to where he's got some good years ahead of him, and he's had some good moments here in camp. So I think if last year proved anything, I mean, the Chiefs, they did lose arguably the best receiver in the NFL, but, Patrick Mahomes took a bunch of, maybe B-list, A-minus list receivers and made them better, and they won a world championship. So I see a similar thing kind of brewing here. It's a lot of somewhat unproven new faces, but the upside, the ceiling, the potential with that receiver group, again, I think is so high. And I think I said this on some other show this summer that I think what Tom Brady was known for, especially like in New England, was making kind of otherwise unknown, I don't want to say average. I mean, if you're a receiver in the NFL, you're better than average, but making relatively unknown receivers, maybe lesser paid receivers, better. And I think that's kind of maybe what we're starting to see with Patrick Mahomes, is making people like a Justin Ross, like an MVS, elevating their careers, making them more versatile receivers. And I think he's got a class of guys that, again, maybe not the hugest names in the NFL right now, but when you watch them in camp and you see these guys in action, it's really exciting. And the fact that, yes, they have the best tight end in the game in Travis Kelce. and also a guy like Noah Gray who's really showing out right now. Like, I think the depth at receiver and tight end is something to be really encouraged by. And yeah, you get Kadarius Toney back healthy, you feel better about it. But even with Toney out of the mix right now, like, the receivers kind of stole the show today. Like, Sky Moore, that's another one. Obviously, he's up and coming in the ranks very quickly. So, it sounds, it's weird to like dismiss receiver as like a concern because again, you lost Juju, Kadarius is on the shelf right now, but man, the guys who have stepped up in that position group these last couple of years, it's been fun. It's been some good stories going on there.
Right. Well, Syracuse Chris out of the comments here says, Tommy, who do you think will be the top 3 wide receivers as of right now? So, out of all those you just mentioned, who do you think the top 3 are?
Top 3. I feel like Marquez. I probably put Marquez 1. I think Sky Moore is a huge step forward this year. I mean, I wouldn't put Justin Watson 3, but he had his moments today as well. Let's see. It's hard to say. Like there's kind of a lot of good competition going on there right now. I think Richie James is going to get a lot of snaps. I don't know if he's number 3. Obviously, if Kadarius Toney is healthy soon enough, if he is back by week 1, 2, or 3, I'd probably put Kadarius in there. But that number 3 spot, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see kind of who shares those snap counts, how many targets they get. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Obviously, Justin Watson's a guy who played at Tampa. He's been in this Chiefs system now a couple of years, so I feel like he has a chance to take a big step forward. So yeah, we'll kind of see how it plays out. But I'd say keep your eye on Justin Ross. Like I said, if he can stay healthy, I think he has a definite chance of cracking that top 3.
Dude, speaking of Justin Ross, I want to show the catch he made today. I'm going to throw the highlight up. Steve, can you throw that comment off the screen for me really quick before I play this? Justin Ross catch, over the shoulder, one hand on Trent McDuffie. Beautiful. I'll play it. Dude, it was so sweet. By the way, we were talking about all the coaches on the sideline. All the guys in red, everybody just sitting there straight face. Didn't clap, didn't smile. They must be so used to Justin Ross. And we were talking about him playing Creed in the background at practice. Could you imagine how much he'd ball out if he was listening to anything but Creed? Like, are you kidding me? Like, if you love Creed,
maybe that's what gave him his power, man.
Maybe Creed Humphrey was like, I want to hear Creed all day long. Put it on repeat. But yeah, we seen Justin Ross tear it up today. We were talking yesterday, me and Steve. There's always that big camp hype for people. Justin Ross he's had hype ever since he's come into the league. Here lately, we've seen sports writers and everybody backtracking a little bit. Oh, we're getting closer to that 53 man. Justin Ross magically, we fell out of love with him and he's back on the cut line. Me and Steve were saying that from the beginning, like he's a cut line guy. Like let's be honest, let's stop like blowing smoke here. He's firmly on the cut line. But he's got tons of potential. We've seen Richie James, as you said, he was getting some stuff. They were installing some different plays today. He was throwing 40-yard bombs out there. You've seen Jody Fortson making some big plays today. You mentioned Sky Moore. Sky Moore had a beautiful play over the middle today. If there would have been pads on, could have been a little different. He may have got laid out. We'll talk about that at a different time. We'll see that later on. But the wide receiver room, we were talking right before you got on here. It seems as though everybody kind of questioned him all the offseason. We're all like, we need D-Hop. We need a proven guy. We need this. Kadarius Toney kind of proved everyone right with the injury right off the rip because that was his big knock was injuries. Mm-hmm. But do you think the wide receivers, like you said, they're balling out and they're looking really good. Do you think they pay attention to all the people saying that there's not that big name and they're coming out and they're giving it their all for it? Or do you think this is they're just that good anyway and we just all missed the mark?
I think you could be a little of both. I mean, I think the Chiefs, several members of the Chiefs have said publicly that, the noise about Tyreek Hill was national. That was very loud. And I think these guys don't live in a vacuum. They're
right.
Consuming stuff. They're on their phones and social media and, or if they flipped on ESPN, they probably heard, the Chiefs are going down the toilet without Tyreek Hill. I don't think that's the narrative this year. I mean, when you're the defending world champs and you pulled that off without Tyreek Hill, I think you've kind of, quieted the haters for at least another year.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think, if there are any doubters out there, I think the Chiefs have proven that only makes what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And so, yeah, especially for those young guys or for guys who have battled injuries who are on the cut line. Yeah, I think that's a huge motivator for a guy like Justin Ross. I think he's been waiting for a moment like this. I mean, he was on the shelf all of last year, and yeah, he is someone who's gotten a lot of hype, but sadly his health has kind of kept him sidelined. So yeah, I think that someone like that is very motivated right now. And with Kadarius Toney being out, as much as you miss somebody like that, I mean, those are just more reps for the next guy to go and get. So yeah, I think like I said, I think Mahomes, like you mentioned, Jody Forston. He had an up and down day today. I mean, he had a few drops. But what's so great about Patrick Mahomes, at least what I noticed like in camp or even during the season, is that if he sees a receiver struggle, he's going to give that receiver another chance. And so Forston had a few drops early today, but guess what? Mahomes threw it his direction again, and Jody Forston kind of made up for it. So I think, a lot of credit is given to 15 for making these guys better, for kind of giving them that pick-me-up. If someone drops it, it's not like he ignores them the rest of the day. It's like, no, I'm going to pick you up. I want to make you better. I mean, I think Patrick has proven that, that camaraderie, that chemistry he builds with the receivers is so important to him. I mean, the off-season workouts in Texas and so on and so forth. So I think that's what makes this so great, is you have an offensive genius like Andy Reid kind of at the controls, and then a guy like Patrick Mahomes who puts such an emphasis on creating a relationship and chemistry with his receiving core that, I think Pat just went and proved this past year. I mean, Juju and MVS, those are decently big names, but they lost, I mean, quite literally, they lose the best receiver in the NFL, and they go out and defy the odds and win the Super Bowl. So it's a similar challenge this year, like I said, losing McCole and Juju again, but I think there's still enough there, whether Kadarius is healthy or not, there's enough there that can still be a potent force. And yeah, like you've got some options, guys like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jerick McKinnon, Deneric Prince, who's made a name for himself. You got some receiving threats out of the backfield, and you got a pretty good arsenal at tight end as well. So, time will tell, but I think 15 has proven that he doesn't need a big name receiver to go and make highlight plays. And I think there's enough talent there to hit the ground running for sure.
Right.
Right.
Tommy, we got a few more questions for you if you've got enough time. I told him if he don't have time, you can bail out at any point. You don't have to wait on us. If you got to go, just we'll figure it out. But we got a few more for you. People are asking some questions. Doug asked, Tommy, who have you been most impressed with in training camp so far out of everybody?
Wow. Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I think I mentioned him just a second ago. I think the emergence of Deneric Prince is kind of interesting. Reminds me a bit of the Isaiah Pacheco story last year.
Right.
There's always kind of that camp darling. It's always a question, all right, what they do in camp, is that going to translate? In the case of Isaiah Pacheco, obviously, it definitely did. And so now you've got Deneric Prince, an undrafted free agent who's been rotating in with the ones, very shifty, very quick, very versatile. I think he's been the most interesting, maybe the most unexpected breakout star so far. Again, that's a guy that's going to be on that cutoff line. He's going to be probably getting a lot of preseason snaps and really trying to prove himself. So I think that's one. I don't know if he's the most impressive, but it's just good to see Justin Ross having the moments he's having, just given everything he's had to go through, the foot surgeries and the spinal issues that he's had. For him just to have some highlight moments, I think that's just that's really good to see. I thought Noah Gray has always been the first two training camps. He's always been solidly reliable, but seems like he almost has an extra gear. He was really making some good moves out there today, some good catches. Travis Kelce was pretty hyped up about Noah when we heard from him the other day. So I think Noah Gray is someone who's definitely stood out. Let's see. And I mentioned Rashee Rice. Again, he's a rookie. It's early days yet, but man, I mean, the proof is in the tape. The proof is in the pudding, and I think he's done everything right so far. And again, he just adds just another option, a little bit more depth, a guy that's young and hungry that's going to keep making his way up. So those are definitely the names that have stood out to me. Like, wow, I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but yeah, they've been really fun to watch. And then Najee Johnson, I think, has been a fun story. 7th round pick last year. I mean, he played almost all the first team reps at corner. And it's funny. So Missouri Western, the Division II college in St. Joseph, we had a cornerback named DJ Sturgis. He signed as an undrafted free agent for Washington this past year. And when I did the Missouri Western banquet in May, there weren't many DJ Sturgis highlights. And a coach said, that's probably good because he had his guy covered. And so I feel like Nazi Johnson hasn't had like that viral moment yet, but he hasn't had a lot thrown his way because, well, he probably has his guy pretty locked down. So, for him to get those opportunities, I know part of it too was L'Jarius Sneed, Josh Williams kind of being acclimated back after they missed OTAs. But Josh Williams and Sneed, they're getting their reps. Sneed's mostly with the ones. Josh Williams going between the ones and twos. But yeah, they've given Nazi Johnson a big chance, big opportunity, and he's making a case. He's really kind of locked that spot in right now. So I think that's been kind of a pleasant surprise to see.
Yeah. So you would briefly mention Noah Gray there. That's a guy I think that, like you said, he has another gear. I think he's got a lot to show people that they don't know about. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people when they start taking some reps off of Kels a little bit. The older he gets, I think Noah Gray's going to go in there pretty seamlessly, man. And a lot of people don't see that, but that goes along with this question right here from Scott Crosser. He says, what are your thoughts on Blake Bell or Matt Bushman making the roster when you get in that tight end room? Because I think we all know Kelsey, Noah Gray, and Jody Fortson, if he stays healthy, he's always got a spot. But a lot of people have been thinking that Bushman might edge out Blake Bell.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of Bell in the first-team offense. Mostly been working with Blaine Gabbert. There were the twos and the threes. Obviously, Blake Bell was slowed by injury last year. First off, I have fond memories of Blake Bell, even though I was a Nebraska fan. Like, I remember his days at Oklahoma pretty fondly, like pretty well. And so that's always somebody like I have a lot of respect for. I feel the same about Blaine Gabbert. Like, even though Nebraska beating Missouri in the rain in 2009 is a sweet memory for me, like, I always appreciated Blaine Gabbert, so I kind of think of Blake Bell in that realm. But Matt Bushman was someone that Matt Nagy was asked about today. And, Bushman, again, working mostly with twos and threes, but Nagy was pretty impressed by Bushman in the OTAs. And, I kind of put Bushman in that Noah Gray category in the sense that pretty much anything that's thrown his way, he's caught it. I think he's done his job. He's done the right things. Whereas, again, Jody Fortson, he's had his moments, but he's had his struggles as well. So, that could shape into an interesting battle. Jody Forston's a guy that, as someone who covers Division II, he was a D2 guy. And so, like, Forston's is someone that's easy to root for. And when Forston's gotten into games, it seems like he's made the most of it. So, that could shape up into an interesting thing. But, Bushman's definitely, he's done all the right things so far in camp.
Awesome. I'm going to let you answer just a few quick ones here. We're getting a bunch of these, so we'll just fire them off. You give us a yes or no. Do you think, in your opinion, Chris Jones is worth $30 million a year?
I'm going to go with no. Close, but no.
What would be your max if you were Brett Veach?
Gosh, man. Oh, man. I about that one.
No pressure.
I'm not, like, again, I don't get into, like, super into, like, salary cap analysis, but, like, I feel like 20 to 25. Again, I feel like if you're Chris Jones, there's not a lot to be complacent about. Like, you're going to get yours. You're going to get paid. You're one of the best now. Like, I think he still has a lot of good years ahead. So I just don't get, again, it just seemed like in years past, he and the organization had always kind of been on the same page. Like, it's the first time in his career that he hasn't reported on time. And so, I get it. Like, you're coming off your best year. You're coming off the Super Bowl. You want to get paid. But, I just don't think there's any rush or need for that right now. Like, let's, get a deal signed. And then, if you want to sign only a couple of years or a 1 year and then renegotiate later, I think that's a fine way to go. But I don't know. Like, you're coming off a world championship. Like, just kind of enjoy that. Enjoy the fact that, like, you're in an organization that values and respects you, and you're in a place that you're thriving right now. So, I lean no. I don't really know where the fan base stands on that, but I don't know. I think having a little extra money available for other positions is always probably a good thing. So, I mean, if he has another great year this year, then maybe. But I'd say right now, wait and see. If you were Brett Veach, would you trade Chris Jones?
That's another question. Trading Chris Jones. Would you consider trading him?
Man, maybe. I don't know. That's a tough one. You'd hate to do that because, again, he's been so beloved and he's had so many good moments, and he is I've always thought he's kind of likable. He's very candid, like, always kind of fun to talk to when he talks to media. You'd hate to see that happen, but I mean, if he holds out, if he continues to not reciprocate what the Chiefs are offering him, then what choice do you have at that point? Like, if he doesn't want to be there, then you might as well get something out of it. Again, I said it earlier, I think it's a bit too soon to be talking about trading him, but right now, I mean, like I said, for what the situation is right now, I think you got to consider all options.
Right. Missouri Western State, if I'm not mistaken, the Chiefs invited one of their guys in this year to rookie minicamp. Arnold Creighton, is that his name?
Yeah, AJ Creighton, or Arnold, which goes by AJ, and then Kobe Cummings from Black City, he also worked out with him. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah, he didn't get the invite back or whatever. He didn't sign the contract or whatever. But everybody's talking about the defensive end. Do you think that this is the year that they just part ways with Joshua Kando? And what have you seen from Kando so far? I know the pads haven't come on, but everybody's kind of in agreement that they think Kando may be out. And then also with that, does Malik Herring make the team again? And does Truman Jones look like a guy that could push for the roster spot too? Because I think it's just a defensive end kind of question. So just talk about the defensive ends.
Well, yeah, again, watching the ones today, it seems like Karlaftis and Daniel Wise have gotten a lot of those first-team reps at defensive end. So, again, a little too early to say, I think, right now. But, yeah, I mean, those guys you mentioned, they've been on the roster. They've managed to make the roster. They've been able to stay in the fold this long. So, we'll find out. I think for depth purposes, they're probably fairly safe right now. But, yeah, in these early days where it's just 7-on-7 or, just, again, helmets, jersey,
right,
it's a little hard to tell. So ask me again after a few padded practices and
true.
A little bit more about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's I think people are just a little bit, what's the word? They're uneasy. They're looking for more defensive end help, I guess, because people kind of thought we would have re-signed Dunlap back by now, but I don't know if Dunlap even wants to play anymore. We just don't have that veteran edge presence. And I think people are just kind of looking at that. But I know the Chiefs did like B.J. Thompson a lot, enough to trade up and take him. And, again, all young guys. But it just seems like youth's the name of the game they're going with these days, right?
Yeah. Yeah, especially, I mean, with the way that rookie class performed, it seems like that's kind of the trend right now. And, yeah, I mean, George Karlaftis, he's someone that really elevated his brand the back half of the year. And, I think he's due for some big things, and I know it's not defensive end, but Charles Omenihu getting a lot of those defensive tackle reps with Chris Jones out of the picture. There's some question marks there for sure, but it'll be interesting to see. There's probably going to be a couple guys there you mentioned that end up getting cut. So yeah, I mean, when you take like a veteran presence out of the mix like Chris Jones, it does really kind of open it up. Like, all right, whose job is this to lose now? Like, whose roster spot is this to lose? So, yeah, it'll be interesting to watch.
Steve, you got anything for him?
No, man. It's just nice to have you on here. We appreciate you spending some time with us and answering some questions, man. It's good to have somebody on that has eyes on it right now. So, because we're all the way in Kentucky, so we only see what we get to see on Twitter and everything else. So it's really cool that you were here, man.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. You mentioned Kentucky. That was kind of last October, Missouri Western men's basketball played at Kentucky, which was a really cool exhibition for us. Our men's coach over here, Will Martin, was a manager for Coach Cal, and so they organized an exhibition. So that was my first time actually spending time in Kentucky, going to Lexington. It was a short trip, kind of there and back, but that was a lot of fun. So shout out to Kentucky. That was a cool thing, a cool opportunity through Missouri Western I got to do, and just very blessed and fortunate that Division II. We had MIAA Media Day yesterday, and I truly believe that Missouri Western's in the best D2 conference in the nation in the MIAA, and to be in that greater than that KC proper area, to be in this part of the country, and for me it's like I'm close to home, I'm close to a lot of things, and to kind of just get a front row seat to the best team in the NFL, to watch them, like I said, in the early days, kind of just forging the new path for a new season and turn the page. It's so cool for us, especially those of us who live in St. Joe and work here, to get to kind of just lap it up these 3 weeks. So doing stuff like this and talking Chiefs and kind of getting in that football mode, it's a lot of fun.
For sure, man. But well, we appreciate you being here, man. We really do. It was fun talking to you. It was fun asking you some questions. Me and Steve, by the way, we're going to be up there at camp on August 15th, a Tuesday. So it's like right before it ends. We'll have to hit you up, shake your hand. Maybe you can show us around campus a little bit. It's a beautiful campus every time we're there. I love watching the football field, and like everything's so pretty. It's great. I hope they keep doing camp in St. Joe, and they keep telling us there's a Mexican restaurant we got to try around there. What's your recommendation?
Gosh, yeah, there's a lot of good Mexican in this area. The one I like, it's a little informal. It's called Abelardo's. You kind of just drive. It's kind of like a drive-up place, but yeah, you get big proportions. It's really good. There's a few Mexican places I haven't tried here yet, but yeah, you can't really go wrong. If you're kind of like seafood or Cajun, Boudreaux's, that's kind of a staple local place here. But yeah, the great thing about St. Joe is that we have a lot of the amenities and chains of a big city, but we're also kind of a big small town. That's kind of how I like to describe it. And so like we kind of have those mom and pop shops, those local places as well. So you get a pretty good mix, and everything's pretty easy to get to in St. Joe. It's obviously not as big as Kansas City. So yeah, it's always a pretty homey feel whenever you get here.
Barbossa's.
Awesome.
That's the one that everyone keeps talking about.
Barbossa's. Yeah, that's the one.
Barbossa. That's actually like 5 minutes from my work. I've eaten there a couple of times.
Okay,
good.
sweet.
Okay.
We'll have to check it out. But man, we appreciate you. We'll find you on August 15th. Say hey, give you a high five. Thank you for coming on the show, brother. We appreciate you. And anytime you want to come on, let us know. And if you guys haven't followed him on Twitter, it's Tommy_Rezac.
Rezac.
So the Twitter handle, real quick, is at Tommy KFEQ, which are my station.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I screwed
but if
that
you
up.
search my name, search first name Tommy, last name Rezac. You can find me on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I made a Threads account. I haven't really used it, but yeah, you can find me on all the social media channels. And I just encourage people, stjosephpost.com, the St. Joseph Post mobile app. That's our website. Comprehensive practice reports. It's free. There's no subscription or anything. So, yeah, feel free to consume all of that. I mean, we're there every single day. So, yeah, really appreciate it. Thanks to you guys for having me on, and thanks to everybody out there for the questions. Like I said, I feel somewhat small against the likes of like Nate Taylor or Pete Sweeney or Adam Teicher, but again, to be there, boots on the ground, and to soak all this up, and you know, just try and relay what I'm seeing. It's so much fun. So yeah, doing this stuff is great.
Well, hopefully I got it right on the screen. Is it right on the screen? Tommy KFEQ.
Yeah, that's
there. It is. Okay, my bad, man. I'm just used to seeing your name all the time. Like I said, I'll go to you a lot, like because everybody goes to Teicher and all them and Pete Sweeney, and it's like, you know, let's give some other guys a shot here. So we throw up your tweets a lot on the show. Hopefully we can get you some followers, get you out there, man. Look forward to talking with you again. But we really appreciate having you.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, appreciate you having me on, and good luck with everything on the show. And yeah, look forward to seeing you guys in a couple weeks.
Thanks, brother. We'll see you,
man.
All right, take care.
Room. We got a 10 bomb from HD Chiefs fan. We appreciate
we got a 10 bomb.
So it's just because I returned a bunch of soda pop bottles.
HD, we took your soda pop bottle money. That makes me feel bad.
Nah, we appreciate that, man.
Yeah, appreciate you guys for real, man. Good questions you guys threw out for Tommy. I like his in-depth answers, and I think he answered a lot of what everybody wanted to know. The one thing I really wanted to get was, what was the sentiment of the writers and everybody about the whole Chris Jones thing? Like, do they think this is something to panic about? And they're saying no. Like, so until the writers and everybody around them feels panicky, I don't think we should all feel panicky either. I just don't. I think it's a non-factor.
Well, I just don't. I think they have to get Chris Jones locked in and everything, and it'll happen sooner than later. I mean, he's not going to sit there and just pay that much money. Like, I'm with that sentiment, but I do think that they want to try to get it done before he shows up to camp. I think, don't you think it's like a sign? It's not necessarily, but does it come across as a sign of weakness on Chris Jones' end if he just shows up to camp without a deal done?
Do what now? I'm sorry. I was having to read. I was reading a tweet. Sorry.
Hey, focus, Michael.
I'm here.
Don't you think, like, if Chris Jones reports to camp before they get a deal done, don't you think that slightly shows a sign of weakness on his end, on his side of the fence?
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah and no. I mean, he is under contract. He's got to play. So technically it's better to get the long-term deal, even if you have to give a little bit, right? You don't want to come in and get injured and not get nothing out of the deal. So
Right. Greg Coleman with a freaking 50 bomb, dude. We appreciate you, Greg.
What?
Freaking nuke. Put some nukes in the chat for Greg Coleman. We appreciate you, my man.
Give some legendaries, Greg.
He says, hey, guys, been a minute since I got you guys live. Y'all doing some great stuff for us Chiefs fans. Keep it up, fellas. Thank you. We appreciate you, Greg, man. That goes a long way. All the donations go a long way. We've put a lot of time into this thing. We've been trying to pump out as much content as we can here in the off season. Once camp started, we've kind of doubled it up, man. It's kind of all day thing now. So we appreciate that, man. It's awesome. Glad you got to catch us again, man. We hadn't seen you in a minute.
Yeah, man. It's been a while, Greg. Good to see you, though, for real. And I appreciate that 50, dude. It goes a long way. It means a lot to a small channel like us. It's amazing. Good to have you here. And we've been working so much, Steve. We even snuck Cole onto our last live, didn't we? For a few minutes. We made him get on here and talk with us a little bit. So we're making everybody work.
You know, a little behind the scenes, but we kind of chat with Cole, not daily, but close. I mean, just back and forth messages and things. So it just seemed like a good idea at the time. We were talking to him. He got on the chat, and it was like, hey, let's patch him in here. I think Stephen James said it. So, but yeah, I mean, we're getting up. Mike's up probably 8, 9 in the morning, just going digging on this camp stuff, man, and just all day long tweeting out. So if you guys don't follow us on Twitter, just @AllChiefedUp. Mike gets all kinds of good stuff on there. And then we kind of get together and figure out, hey, do we have time to do a live stream? We already did this podcast that's coming out today. So it's an all day thing, man. It's been fun though.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, it's tiring, but it is rewarding, and it's fun to get on here and just talk to you guys, and you know, we'll come up with ideas and then we'll run them by you, and then we get to use you guys as a little therapy session. Like if I want to vent, we'll vent. If we want to talk about something, if we want to ask a question, we get the general, everybody, we'll see what's up. But yeah, it's fun, man. It is tough, but we do get a little bit of a day off tomorrow. We won't get a day off. We'll still be doing something, but at least the players get a day off, and I don't have to get up at 8 a.m. and just start digging. Yeah, man. Chief Kelsey says, when Chris Jones signs, what do we talk about next? Man, there's always something to talk about every day. There's going to be a new guy out.
Position battles, right? Because, I mean, by the time all this gets wrapped up, hopefully it's within the next week or so. But then, like he was saying, they've already had 4 of their, 19 practices they get?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you only got a few more weeks. Preseason starts, and they're going to start trimming this roster down, man. That's going to be fun to see how this plays out. I'm excited about it. I've been saying this since months ago, man. I couldn't wait for camp to see how some of these positions are going to shake out because of the way cornerback looks, wide receiver looks, just different things like that. I'm excited to see what Andy rolls with because, yeah, we all have our perspectives on it and our opinions, but I value what Andy sees more than what I think. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like whoever he thinks is the best 53 men to put on the field, I'm completely fine with it because this man has shot us into the stratosphere since he came to Kansas City. So,
right. Yeah, man, we're on a good trajectory. There's a lot of good young talent here, and it's going to be fun watching it. People are saying this in the chat that we're almost to 11K subscribers, and here it is, a live update.
Close.
We're at 10,949. Wouldn't it be sick if that just jumped all the way to 11 right now? So if you're in here and you're not a sub, hit that sub button. But I have a feeling almost everybody in here right now is a sub, baby. You guys are all part of the crew. You're all subs, and we appreciate it. Kip Carnes with the 10 bomb.
10 bomb. We appreciate you, Kip. You're awesome, bro. He says, I don't understand why CJ has to hold out of training camp and acts like he is more important than the team. Yeah, man, it's always weird when you see that kind of perspective or like that side of the fence. But for him, it's all about him, basically. I mean, he still can be a team player. I think the other guys understand it. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. The other guys on the team, they understand these situations. So when he don't show up to camp because he's trying to get an extension, that's things that they see in this business a lot. And I think that his teammates understand it and they don't take it personally. So I don't think it hurts the team chemistry per se. So I don't worry about that part of it because, I mean, there's been a lot of guys out there that have dealt with this situation. So I'm not worried about that aspect. But I would like to see him get in there and start getting comfortable with some of the new guys on the defensive line. We talked about that a little bit today on the podcast.
You know, we as fans Because, I mean, come on. If we're in here right now watching the Chiefs on a Wednesday night in the middle of July, we're all diehard Chief fans. And we see the Chiefs as, you know, we were Chief fans before Chris Jones. We're going to be Chief fans long after Chris Jones retires. And so for us, I think as fans, it's hard to look at as player situations and always be like, man, why don't they love the team like I love the team? Why do they think they're more important? Why are you acting like that? But I think it's important that we you have to take the player into account sometimes. It's like, well, this is the guy's career, and yeah, he has made a lot of money, but you know, it's hard.
He's also got to capitalize. Like he's
right.
coming off his best year as a pro, and
I'm just saying, isn't it hard though, Steve, to kind of look at it from the player angle, because we're all Chief fans first. Like we want the franchise to do well. We're not necessarily being like, well, I hope Chris Jones gets rich. Like we're not all going to celebrate that.
I do my very best to look at it from a player's point of view sometimes, because like you said, you always take the Chiefs side on everything. We're Chiefs fans. Right. End of story. It don't matter who's on the team next year. It could be a completely different 53 men. You're still going to be a Chiefs fan, right? So it just is what it is. But I also, you know, looking at the money talk, you know, it's always just ridiculous to average people to be like, wow, he really wants 30 million instead of 28 million. Like, good Lord, what kind of spoiled crap is that? Or, you know, it's hard because they live in a different world than we do, right? So it's like, I don't know. I try to get in there, see it from their perspective sometimes, and you just kind of got to go by market value, right? That's the best way to look at it when you're looking at contracts, is like, what's the market calling for? Quentin Williams making $26 million a year calls for Chris Jones to make close to 30. End of story. And I think that the Chiefs are going to have to pony up and keep him here, man. That's what I think. Maybe not 30 on the nose, but they've got to make him happy.
Yeah, I mean, they got to do something. Kip, thanks for the 10 bomb, man. Thanks for the question.
Appreciate it,
comment, whatever it's classified as. We appreciate you, man. Everybody drop some legendaries for Kip, and then we got Dan Weiler in here, baby, with a 5 bomb. Everybody drop some legendaries for Dan as well. Appreciate you, Dan. We appreciate everybody here, man. We got 142 people here on a Wednesday night, Steve. Did you think when we would have started this bad boy like a year ago that we would have 143 in here watching and we'd have such a nice community of people just talking Chiefs? Because that's the rewarding part of it, man. You get up every day, you work. And it's like, dude, we just wanted a nice group of core Chief fans that we could get in here and talk with. And, I mean, we couldn't ask for anything better.
I think that's the difference, man. Like, we really value the community aspect of it and the interaction. Because, like, we started this whole thing because me and Mike just talked about the Chiefs all the freaking time anyway, like almost daily. So we're like, let's do a podcast. And that turned into, let's do a YouTube video. And I think, like, we didn't set out to start a YouTube channel and make a bunch of money from it or anything like that, or be YouTubers. Like, that was never, we're just Chiefs fans. So I'm with you, Mike. It's pretty humbling to see almost 11,000 subscribers after a year. That's pretty crazy, dude. I would have never expected it. But the most rewarding part is getting to spend time with you guys in the chat, because that's what it was all about. It's talking about the Chiefs, dude. And now at this point, the sky's the limit. And we're going to keep growing this channel, and hopefully we're going to be doing it full time soon, and we can put more effort into it and talk to you guys even more.
Right. It's going to be so awesome when we can actually do this full time. And then, like, dude, we've come up with so many ideas that like, you know, for more content and different things, and we just can't really make it work because of the time constraint, the fact that we have like bills, we've got all this, you know, but it's going to come together because we got such a good community. It's going to come together. It's not if, it's when, and it will. But
just keep on grinding, baby. Just keep on
we're going to keep grinding. You guys are awesome. Love having you guys along for the ride, man, because it takes a village, and you guys have definitely propped us up really well, and we appreciate you guys for sure. And that was our 5 minutes of how much we appreciate you from All Chiefed Up tonight on a Wednesday. And yeah.
And believe it or not,
yeah, go ahead.
I mean it, and we didn't write that down. That just came out.
It just came out. We didn't really like plan that to happen. It just come out. We just threw that up everywhere.
Let's take a question here from good old Gary Holland. Mike and Steve, I enjoy that players that play for a team when they draft them and retire a Chief. Yeah, man, I think that's the thing. I think Chris Jones has every intention of retiring a Chief. Same with like Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. I don't think they want to ever go anywhere. And I don't think that's anybody's real intention. I mean, even if you look at other players that end up moving on at the end of their career, it just kind of gets to the point to where, the team that they were drafted by and the team that they love and they've put so much into, are they ready to retire when that team is has to move on? Like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers had to go to the Jets to get paid again because the course had been ran in Green Bay. But yeah, it's just things like that. And I think Chris Jones has every intention of retiring a Chief. I mean, he said it. He don't want to play for anybody else.
Well, that's kind of my thoughts, because everybody's like, and that's where, like I was just saying, you want to just side with the Chiefs on everything. And it's like, well, if he don't want to be here, he don't want to be here, cut him. But it's like, at the end of the day, don't you feel bad? Just like, he wants to be a Chief, but he wants to be paid fairly. And let's be honest, he's worth right at what he's asking for. He really is. He's good. It can be debatable with, Aaron Donald and this and that, but still he's right at the top.
Like
of the
I said, it's the market value. I mean, if Quentin Williams is making $26 million and Aaron Donald's making $31 million, Chris Jones has got to be more towards Aaron Donald.
The market always resets. So in 3 to 4 years, at the end of this contract, the contract's going to look good. It might look high right now, but it's going to look good in 3 years.
Justin Herbert just signed the record-setting contract. What was it, $267 million? I don't know off my head.
Frickin' Herbert. Are you kidding me?
Which is crazy. And Burrow's going to turn around and take it from him. But I was just getting ready to say, can you imagine 10 years from now what these guys are going to be getting paid?
It's insanity. Well, Jack, what's up, Jack? He says, just jumped in. Is anyone else tired of the Mahomes contract crap that keeps coming up? Tired of the Miggy bringing it up?
Yes.
I said that last night. I tweeted
Mike
to Florio. And I was like, look, Florio, you're a piece of crap. Quit bringing up Mahomes. Get them out of your mouth. Because I tell you, why are you writing stories saying that Mahomes needs to be paid more? Why aren't you writing stories saying that these other franchises like the Chargers and the Ravens and now what's going to be the Bengals, they're overpaying. Daniel Jones, you guys are overpaying for mediocre quarterbacks that can't beat Mahomes, that can't win a ring. And it's like, we got Mahomes on a heck of a deal. That was good for him, by the way. He signed it. Nobody held a gun to his head and made him sign it. Like, the dude signed it. He thought it was a good deal. They obviously praised Tom Brady when he took a little bit less to be able to win. And then, I made the analogy. Steve, if we raced cars for a living and I went out and bought a Lamborghini for $250K and you just went out trying to beat me every week and you were buying like Ford Tauruses for like $500,000, am I supposed to go back to the car company and be like, well, this guy overpaid for his Ford Taurus. I'll go ahead and give you my extra $200K. No.
Right.
It's write stories on how bad their franchise is, not at how Patrick Mahomes getting ripped off. Maybe we're paying Patrick Mahomes the appropriate amount, and they're just overpaying because there's a bunch of slap nuts.
They're trying to catch up, man. That's all they're doing. Yogi with the 10 bomb. We appreciate you, Yogi. You've been awesome, man. Thanks for all your support. He says, you guys make my Wednesday evening 4 hours commute much, much better. Let's freaking go. 4-hour commute, Yogi.
4 hours? Where are you commuting to, Yogi? Are you going from like Canada to Mexico? No.
Respect though. But yeah, I'm glad we can help with that. I mean, that's why we do this. Once again, we just like to talk about Chiefs football, and it's crazy how it's different for everybody. Like, it helps people get through a 4-hour commute. That's cool to me that we can make that a little better for you. So appreciate the support, Yogi.
Yeah, for sure, Yogi. We appreciate you. Put some legendaries in the chat for Yogi. Yogi is the man. Be safe out there, Yogi. Dan says, I'm fairly new to your podcast. Welcome, Dan. We appreciate you. We're sure you're subbed. You're part of the crew now, and we appreciate you. And go Chiefs. He says, you are Chief fans but live in Kentucky. Yes, sir. What is your background? So, yeah, we do. We are. We've told this story a bunch of times, but since you're new, we'll tell it again really quick. We'll give you the Cliff Notes version of it, as if you didn't want to read Macbeth, but you bought that little Cliff Notes book. We'll tell you what happened. Our dad was a Chief fan growing up. He'd been a lifer. It was just ingrained in us. And we lived in Kentucky. We had to put up with Titans fans and Bengals fans and Colts fans, and we were tired of it. And everybody picked on us. They said, "Why do you like the Chiefs? They suck." And we had to endure that our whole lives. And and now we're rubbing it in on them. But yeah, man, we just blew up we grew up in the Bluegrass State. Lifelong Chief fans. It's tatted on us. It's everywhere. We live it. We love it. That's what we do, and that's what we're going to continue to do. But we just represent from everywhere, man. Chiefs Kingdom is worldwide, not just KC. And Dan, Dan said he's in Kentucky. Curious where you live at in Kentucky, Dan. Are you more near Lexington, more near Louisville, maybe more in the western part of the state, near Paducah? Let us know in the chat. But we appreciate you for being here, Dan. Sorry. I clicked that off. Was you clicking something on?
No.
Oh, I just
Mike,
clicked up.
You just had a meltdown. Mike had a meltdown. No, I'm
sorry. Well, my computer, when I clicked it, it did
I'm
something
clicking
weird.
it now. Dez with the 5 bomb. We appreciate you, Dez. Says Williams is
Yes.
making 24.5. I wonder if CJ is waiting to see where Bosa comes in to see if that can cap his number. Bosa shouldn't affect him with him being an edge guy. I wouldn't think.
Right, but
But pass rushers, it is what it is. Maybe, possibly 24.5. Is that what he ended up signing for? Was it 26 with incentive? I was thinking it was around the 26 million mark, or maybe I was just thinking that in my head. I don't know.
It's okay.
But either way, so let's split it. 24.5 and let's just say 25 and 31. So 28's right in the middle. So 28's, that's where we think they should be looking at for Chris Jones anyway. And I think that Chris Jones would settle on $28 million a year if he got a lot of guaranteed money. And he gets as many years as he likes and things like that. There's so much that goes into it. But appreciate the 5, Dez. Thanks for all your support, man. You've been awesome. And throw some legendaries in the chat for Dez.
Yeah, Dez, thank you. We appreciate you. Brian, why are you always talking about Cole? I'm going to tell you something. We talked to Cole about you the other day, and we said Brian Parrott says that he would like to be reinstated on your channel, and he promises he'll be good. And what did Cole say, Steve? Cole said if Brian will promise to be good, he will consider putting you back on his channel and letting you interact with everybody. But you have to promise that you're not the guy making a bunch of troll accounts calling him racist. And I was like, I don't think that's something Brian would do. Hopefully you didn't prove me wrong and that is you. But you got to find a way to get to Cole and tell him that it was not you and that you promised to be good. And he said he'll give you a second chance. And then Brian, you
balls
good,
back
man.
in your court, Brian Parrott.
Yeah, balls back in your court, Brian. Don't be mean to Cole. Like, I know Cole's
an
bald.
awesome guy.
He's got a big beard. I know you might want to pick on him a little bit. Don't do it. Don't do it, dude.
Dez with the membership. Appreciate you, Dez.
Thank you, brother. I feel like we've been defending a lot of Chiefs Kingdom lately. Like we've had to defend Cole to people. We've had to defend Lance here lately.
Lance gets attacked like crazy,
dude, and it's just like you want to be. Don't you just want to defend people sometimes when they don't really deserve? I don't know. Maybe it's just us as people.
That's the thing
we just
about
always
it.
grew up that way, man.
Yeah, but the entire Chiefs community, like whether they're content creators or they're just like a Twitter influencer, whatever they might be, if they're in the Chiefs community, I feel like everybody's entitled to their own freaking opinion. Like if it's something different and you don't agree with it, then cool. That's awesome. That's the whole point of us talking about this stuff, to see different sides of everything. And you can't just be in your own little echo chamber. We've talked about it before. So yeah, I'm with you. Like I feel like if somebody's unfairly getting ganged up on, then yeah, sure.
Dude, I don't care what it is in life. If I'm at the gas station, somebody's picking on somebody, I'm gonna stand up for them. I mean, that's just not me. So it bothers me when people do that with Lance and stuff, and they'll read all this stuff and just take it completely out of context. And it annoys me sometimes, dude. It really does.
Yeah, I think
that's what people do, though.
Yeah, but for the most part, as far as content creators go here on YouTube, I feel like Chiefs Kingdom's represented well. I feel like it's better represented than most other teams. I've dug around and looked at other teams, what kind of creators they got, and you guys have it made, I promise. You got people like Cole, who's absolutely freaking killing it, and brings you everything in one small video as quick as you can digest it. And then you got us who like to talk and are long-winded and have strong opinions and this and that. And then you got analytical guys like Daniel Harms and Ryan Tracy. You got a little bit of everything. Chief Concerns. You got an ex-Chiefs player, Marcus Dash, killing it over there. You got Lance, who can talk to you for years about the Chiefs. So I mean, I feel like we all get along pretty good, and there's a place for everybody, and it just is what it is, man. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. And speaking of, if you haven't got your ticket yet for August 15th at Zarda, don't wait much longer. So. I'm telling you, you need to do so because I keep getting an alert every day that says. I keep getting an alert every day that says your event's about to sell out. Do you want to add more tickets? And I'm like, I would love to add more tickets, but I cannot. So it's capped at 50. It's not telling me what the number is, but if I had to guess, it's somewhere around that 35 to 40 mark. So there's only like 10 to 15 tickets available if I had to guess. So if you want that, go do it. I'll bring up all the info for you really quick. Here it is. Chew with the Crew. It's going to be on August 15th, Tuesday night at 7 p.m. at Zarda in Blue Springs. Okay, guys, you got to get your tickets. We don't want it to sell out on you. Haley is going to be there. Haley Lewis. Look at her. Who don't want to come hang out with Haley Lewis, guys? Like, who don't want to hang out with Haley Lewis? She's smart. She knows everything about the Chiefs. Come talk to her. Take your picture. She'll sign stuff for you. Guaranteed. Lance is going to be there. We already talked about him. Lance from The Spoken. Yep. He said he's going to be there. He's going to sign stuff. We have a graphic designer right now designing you guys an awesome, epic door gift. So everybody that pays that ticket is going to get an awesome poster that you can have a sign or whatever you want to do with it. Frame it, put it in your house, put it in your collectibles, start a fire with it. It's getting ready to be bonfire season. I don't care what you do with it, but we're going to give away like stuff, and we just want to hang out with you guys and meet you guys. So be sure and get those tickets, and a lot of you guys already have them, but if you want to come, I stress you to go ahead and do it, because if it sells out, I swear we cannot have more than 50. Like, the fire people will kick us out, and we just can't do it. So
we're still working on we've left a little bit of overhead because we're working on guests. So there's some other guys that might be able. Jason Dunn said if he's in the area, he would love to come hang out. Cole from How About Those Chiefs, he's mentioned swinging by and hanging out for a minute if he can do so. No guarantees on any of these guys because they got their own lives and stuff going on. So I'm not trying to throw them out there. But these are all people that have mentioned coming by and hang out. It's just going to be a hangout for like this kind of community where we can all meet face to face and hang out and eat and have a good time.
Yeah, we've actually, we've threw some feelers out to some ex-players. We've been in contact with Garrett Dieter. Dieter might swing by. Not really got to hammer out anything, but like we've been in contact with him. Let's hope that he can get back to us and confirm something. But you don't know who's going to show up. But as it sits right now, even if it's just us, Haley and Lance, and then Cole swings by, come on. That's good enough. Who don't want to hang out with Haley, Lance, and Cole, and then me and Steve will just be eating barbecue in the back and know that we organized Jarrell's meetup. How about that? But yeah, man, just throwing that out there for you guys. If you guys don't care, go ahead and hit that like button for us. If you haven't subbed already, hit that sub button. Smash that bell. Did you know that only 9% of our 11,000 people have the bell icon clicked, Steve? So they don't even know when we're coming out with videos. And then the funny thing is, people that actually does click the bell, YouTube don't even alert them. So what about those apples? What about that?
Yeah, well, we're trying to get more subs. We're trying to get this community bigger. That's what we're doing. It's crazy that 95% of the people that watch our videos, and I'm sure you get tired of hearing me say it on the podcast, but 95% of the people that watch it aren't subscribed. But, we'll get 5, 8, sometimes 10,000 views on a video, and it's just like, man, 95% of these people haven't even hit that sub button and come to hang out yet,
Steve, we got a comment yesterday and said, I watched y'all's videos for a while, never hit the sub button, but when you all said Wiener Mike on the Pete Sweeney thing, they hit the sub button. So I was like, I responded, I was like, nice to know that our football talk never convinced you to hit the sub button, but the Wiener Mike comment definitely got the click. It is what it is.
Jared says, can you do a raffle for a ticket because I'm broke? Yeah, we understand that, man, 100%.
We actually, Cobra Kai actually bought 2 tickets that he wants us to raffle off at some point, and we plan on that. We're just trying to figure out how to do it.
Don't know if Ty's in the chat tonight, but I'm sure you guys are familiar with him. He's awesome. He bought 2 extra tickets just so we could give them out. So we'll probably do some sort of a giveaway here soon with those 2 tickets. So that was pretty cool of him. So next time he's around, make sure to thank him for that. And that'll be coming, man. So we hope you win one.
Right. And if anybody wants to buy tickets and have us, give them away, do giveaways, donate them, we're down with that too. That's fine. Just let us know. You can email us at allchiefedup@gmail.com. Ask us about it, order it, let us know what you want to do, how you want to give them away, and we'll gladly give them away. Or you can give them away to whoever you want. I don't care. We'll figure out. We can even be the middleman that can exchange them for you or something. Or we'll just put their name on a list, and when they get there, boom,
I'm just laughing at Brian Parrott. He said Lewis is scalping tickets.
Lewis, are you scalping, baby? How much you getting out of those bad boys? It can't be much. You're going to go broke scalping our tickets, bro. One of these days, wouldn't it be cool, Steve, though, to wouldn't it be cool to be able to do like a live podcast, though, somewhere and sell tickets and have like a live audience? That would be sick. And then get some like cool people. Well,
that's something that we've talked about. Like this event, we just wanted to really meet you guys and get to talk to you on a more personal level, face to face, because we see your names in here all the time. I'm not going to mention everybody, but just looking at what I'm seeing on my screen right now, you got Lego, Doug, Night Hunter, Jared, Angry Drunken German. These are people that are always in here hanging out. It'd be awesome to see some of you guys face to face. So that's kind of the whole point of it. Have a good night, Doug, by the way. Thanks for hanging out, my man. But that's the whole point of this one. But later, maybe we could set up something along the same lines, but it's just a live podcast, and that would be fun.
Right. Yeah, we know a lot of you guys can't make it out, and it's on a weeknight. It's on a Tuesday.
A lot of people don't live in the Kansas City area. I mean, we don't.
I'm also pretty sure school starts back. Veta said school starts back in the KC area on the 14th, so the day before. So totally get it if you can't come, and there's nothing, like, we're not judging nobody for not coming. I was just trying to give you the heads up. If you want to go, tickets are running short, and I can't add any more, so I'm just letting you know. Jared says he wants to come, but he has bills and kids. If anybody knows about that, it's Steve. He's got kids and bills, but it's okay.
Lots of them.
And again,
lots of both.
You know,
they kind of go hand in hand, don't they?
Right. Nobu Knight. He says, trying to see where one can buy tickets. Is there a link I can follow? Yeah, I'll go ahead and put the link on the screen. It's www.
I was going to put the banner at the bottom, but I couldn't find it.
Okay. It's www.bit. Well, no, we don't do www here. So it's going to be bit.ly/ACUTIX. I'm going to put it on the screen right now for you. You can follow it right here. bit.ly/ACUTIX. And yeah, man, $10. And again, we're not taking out any money. Any money we make is paying for the room at Zarda. On top of that, you guys are going to get a gift. You're going to get, like I said, we're making 11 by 17 posters. We're having a graphic artist design something right now. It's pretty cool. Yeah, we want to make it to where, like, we just have to get an accurate head count. So we had to put the $10 ticket out. It sucks. I know we didn't want to do that, but we had to. And so we're giving you a gift, and I mean, we're going to hang out. It's going to be a good time, man.
Right. I just want to take 1 second and just shout out our mods, Lego, Gary. A lot of you guys are doing a killer job. We appreciate you.
Yes.
I know we don't say it a whole lot, but we appreciate what you do, keeping the chat clean and awesome. So getting rid of the Bills fans from time to time, you know. Chris Wright.
Dude, the Bills fans.
The legend himself.
It's going to be wild when the season starts, guys. I feel like you guys are going to have to get the trolls out a lot. But you know what's funny is me and Steve probably invite the trolls in.
Can't wait for it.
I mean, watch the podcast and the way we attack Joe Burrow 24/7 just for the fun of it. We're going to bring the mods in. We're going to make you guys work a little bit. It's cool.
It'll be fun. I'd love to see our community just bag on some Bengals fans, man. I can't wait. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah. Bengals fan. He says, we'll be expecting the post-game lives, guys.
That'll happen.
Yeah, we're probably not going to do a lot of games, but I think Cole's going to do that. So, I mean, you guys got Cole to go watch games with. He's going to do all your games. But, yeah, after that, tell Cole, got to run, Cole. Been with you for 4 hours. We're going to go watch All Chiefed Up and see what they thought about the game. And then we're going to give it to you straight. We're going to be like, daggone it, we sucked today and we're tired of it. Or we're going to say, heck yeah, we destroyed it. Suck it, league. And it's going to be fun to watch. But either way, yeah, man, we'll do after game, lives, and we're going to do lives during the middle of the week. We're obviously doing Saturday night tailgates before games. If there's a game on like a Thursday, we may do a tailgate on Wednesday. We never, you know what I mean? We may move it around a little bit. I mean, we go live Wednesday anyway.
We're definitely going to do live post-game reaction. So, yeah, like Mike said, Cole will be calling the games. He does that, and he does a pretty good job of it. So make sure to catch that. And then right after, we'll do post-game reaction. So it'll be cool. It's awesome. Like I was saying earlier, there's lots of stuff going on in the Chiefs community here on YouTube, different places to find different stuff. So, I mean, it's cool how it all blends together. Like I said, there's space for everyone. So.
Right. HT Chief says, what games are you guys attending? We haven't really got to look at it just yet. I tell you what we do try to do, though. We try to go and watch somebody different. Like, we don't try to watch the same teams over and over. So if we're bringing in somebody different, the sad thing is, like, growing up, we didn't really get to go to KC a lot because our dad he worked a lot. We were a middle-class family. We didn't get to just go take vacations to KC. It was just us
three, too, so,
So, yeah, so we kind of just had to go to the Titans or we had to go to Cincinnati over and over. So it was constantly us watching the Bengals or us watching the Titans, and it gets a little old. So now we try to go to KC and watch games like we went to watch the Jets. We went to watch the Raiders. We went to watch the Broncos. We'll try to catch a new team every year. So We'll probably take a look at it and see what's up. We'd love to go to the Christmas game, but I don't know if that's logistically going to work.
Can't
that
do
would
it.
Be so sick.
I can't do it with 25 kids.
Yeah,
man.
Steve's got 1,000 children, but other than that,
I'm so pumped about that Christmas game, though. I'm super pumped about it.
Right. Oh, Dez with
awesome.
the 5-bomb. Dez,
appreciate
you tonight, man. He's supporting us tonight. It's awesome. He says you guys think it's You guys think it's realistic to pay Chris Jones, Creed, and Bolton? Yeah, I think they can get it done. I mean, I don't see why you couldn't.
I'll tell you who's going to be like the weird outlier guys, okay? Immediately, L'Jarius Sneed, Willie Gay. Going forward, Trey Smith is going to be that guy that people talk about. Because, I mean, obviously that's somebody you do not want to lose, but maybe they just can't make it happen. What are you taking, Creed or Trey Smith?
That's what I was going to say. So if it was between Creed and Trey, you're taking Creed, right? If it's between Bolton and Willie Gay, you got to take Nick Bolton.
Yeah, it
I mean, I feel like you have to take
how
Bolton
this all plays
sucks,
out, but this just goes to show you why you have to enjoy the teams while we have them, and also not take like this type of play for granted. Because like as Chiefs fans, you guys know how bad it sucked just to keep losing and losing and losing. There was a year that we watched 2 wins in the entire season and 0 wide receiver touchdowns. I mean, think about that. We were just there.
Woo.
And now we're winning Super Bowls, and this is a good problem to have. Like, now we got all these freaking awesome players. How are we going to pay them all? Like, trust me, it could be worse.
And I mean, it's a lot of the way Brett's drafted over the years, man. I mean, when you hit on a draft with Creed and Nick Bolton and you know what I mean? And then, like, you have just all these players in one draft. Like, can you imagine last year's draft class, what that's going to look like in 4 to 5 years? We're all going to be panicking over who's going to be signed and who's going to be cut. And you may have to say goodbye to a Josh Williams or a Jalen Watson or Najee Johnson. Dude, it's just it's a revolving door. And it's a business, and it sucks, dude. It really does. But I feel like that's where if you get those foundational players, like your Mahomes, your Kelsey, and I obviously put Chris Jones in that.
Creed's going to be one of those guys that you just want to keep around, and Chris Jones is definitely in that conversation.
Right, and I believe that's why you got to work so hard to keep him, because people's like, well, if you keep Chris Jones, you know, you might have to say goodbye to Willie Gay, and you might have to say goodbye to Trey Smith, and it's like, yeah, but those guys can be replaced a little bit. Like, look, you've seen Drew Tranquil come in. He's not that old. Maybe Drew Tranquil wants to sign here long-term and play that Willie spot.
Right. Well, Angry Drunken German says guard is probably the easiest position in the NFL to replace. It's one of them, and let's be right now. If we didn't even draft another guard or anything right now, I mean, we're solid. Like, I mean, we just are. Allegretti, you can't argue with that guy. He's still around, right?
Yeah, I mean,
and then you got
Caliendo. He almost made the team last year.
But not to mention, you got guys like Darian Kennard and Wanye that could probably step in and play guard pretty seamlessly. So I mean, he's not wrong. But I'm pulling to keep Trey Smith. I love Trey Smith.
I would love to keep Trey Smith.
I love the way he plays.
But Steve, I tell you, man, you think with your heart, you know, but sometimes you just can't. And I mean, some of these guys are not the Chris Joneses and
that's why we get yelled at sometimes by people in the comments, Mike, because we say things that hurt their feelings, and it's funny because it's like we probably 9 out of 10 times we agree with what you're saying, but it's not reality.
Yeah, kind of like the L'Jarius Sneed. Like, we both love L'Jarius Sneed, and it pains us to have to say, man, we think Sneed could be that Rashad Fenton this year. I don't want to see that. Steve doesn't want to see that, but we're just trying to prepare everybody for, like, hey, the Chiefs don't routinely play corners. We're deep at corner. This could be a possibility, and the more we say it, we're just kind of like trying to convince ourselves, I guess, that, you know.
Well, I see a couple people talking about Bolton. Night Hunter says keep Bolton, let Tranquil walk, and then you got Kip Carnes says I hope Bolton don't leave. He is awesome. I think Bolton's one of those guys that they're going to make sure they lock in.
Yeah, me too. I mean,
you got to. Have you seen in the first 2 years? I think I can't remember how it ranked, but he was in the top 6, I think, of most tackles within 2 seasons back to back of all time.
Dude.
Like Nick Bolton's
only going to get better. By the way, we thought he could have stepped back last year with a little sophomore slump. He didn't have it. He showed up to camp this year looking bigger, faster, more confident. Sky's the limit for this guy. Tony Bone says, what rivalry do y'all dislike the most in our division? My least favorite game is probably the Chargers. I don't really think the Chargers, like, they're not a fun team to go play in L.A. L.A.'s a crappy
They're
place
annoying.
for football.
They play us so tough.
Yeah, they always overplay.
Now, if you're talking about which team we hate the worst, I'm going to go with the Raiders, but Broncos are very close behind them.
Yeah, they're like this and this. The Chargers are just one of those teams that, like, they just overperform and they're annoying. They're not a good football town. I just don't like them.
Let's get some more legendaries in the chat for Greg Coleman. Another 20.
Greg,
we appreciate you, Greg. You're awesome.
You, brother.
Got the 50 bomb and the 20 bomb. You're amazing, bro. The cap next year is projected to be $256 million. They might just wait. I can see them signing all three: Jones, Creed, and Bolton. I agree, Greg. I think so. It's going up like $20 million next year, I think. But over the next few years, they're going to have to keep raising that. I would say with all these TV deals, these overseas games, and all kinds of stuff where they're just making the NFL is unreal how much money gets circulated through that. I think the players union will have it to where they can keep raising that. That way they can have bigger contracts.
They already had a Skype the other day where all these running backs got together and decided they were underpaid. So now they're starting a class action lawsuit or something. Like, get over it. Like, dude, wasn't it just years ago the running back was overpaid? It's just the ebbs and flows of it. And these new guys, man, I tell you.
The running back thing annoys me. Like, it does.
Annoying.
It just, like, it's funny because, like I said, I try to look at it from a player's perspective, but it's just, it's so hard to do because those guys are whining like they're entitled to that money. And it's like, I'm sorry, if your position is not what it used to be, it's just how it goes, man. Deal with it. Right. But we appreciate you, Greg. You're awesome, dude. Thanks for all your support. For real. It means a lot. And then we got Gil following it up with a 10 bomb. Let's get some legendaries in the chat for Greg and Gil,
baby. Gil, we appreciate
famous duo G&G, baby.
The double G's. The OGs, the gangsters. Kip, he says you went and watched Bengals game without the Chiefs playing. No. Good Lord, no.
No. We had to go watch the Chiefs play the Bengals and the Chiefs came to town. And the Colts.
So when the Chiefs went to Indy, we went and watched the Colts. When the Chiefs played the Titans, we went to Nashville. When they went to Cincy. But like I say, that's just the same matchup every time. That's the only way we got to see
those are like hour-and-a-half drives as opposed to 10 hours over to KC.
Yeah. But, now that we've got older, we've got a little wiser, our cars are a little better, we'll take off to KC now. That's what it is. When you're a child and you had to rely on your dad who worked 70 hours a week just to put food on the table, it was tough.
And was a preacher as well.
Right.
So he was busy.
So, yeah, most Sundays we had our butts in church, didn't even get to watch a lot of football. So
single parent with 2 jobs, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
But, we still made time to listen to old Mitch Holtis.
We did.
All the Chiefs games, baby.
Pops raised us right. He raised us to love Jesus and love the Chiefs, and that's all you can ask for, baby. I tell you. Let's see. Oh, Jared. It's a little. He says, I think Bolton's leaving next year, and they keep Tranquil. That's a hot take.
Yeah, that's a pretty hot take. I don't think Bolton's ever going anywhere, to be honest.
I don't think they can do it, man.
It's too good.
Yeah, I don't think they can let Bolton walk. I think Bolton's. Look at that guy. He's so quiet. How do you go into a contract negotiations, Steve, with Nick Bolton? Like, you just look at him and be like, Nick, you ain't going to say nothing. I'm going to give you all the money.
Here's a big factor in what you just said, Jared, and I'll kind of put it into perspective. Drew Tranquil, great football player. You could hold him up there with Nick Bolton if you want. You could say he's just as good or this or that. That's fine. You can have that opinion. But he's 27 years old. Nick Bolton is 23 and doing this. 23 years old and doing this. He's got a long career ahead of him. And it's going to be with the Chiefs, man. I think he's one of those players they just don't let walk. Like, he's like the staple Chiefs linebacker that sticks around for a long time, right? Like, you had Derek Johnson. I could see it being something like that,
Yeah. I just can't see Bolton leaving the Chiefs. I couldn't do it. Dude, Bolton's just a good guy, though, right? Like, dude, I've watched so many stories on him. Just love
and he's
Nick
very
Bolton.
He's a real humble guy, and he's also very like he don't like talking in front of people. He does not like the spotlight.
Right. And
like, you can tell in his interviews, like, he talks really fast because he's nervous, and like he didn't even want to talk at the parade. Remember, they were like, he's a little shy, he don't want to do it. Yeah. But they made him do it. But dude, I love Nick Bolton.
Love Nick Bolton. He's got to be one of my top 3 to 4 favorites on this team. For
Man,
real.
I've said it before. I had them ranked or like graded as a first round pick. Like the whole time that draft was going on.
Dude,
we got him in the second there, dude. I was pumped when we took him.
In our top 20 overall players, and he fell to the second. What did he fall to? 50s?
I'm having trouble thinking of the guy's name. There was another linebacker. I only had one linebacker graded above him. And to be honest, looking back at it, I don't even know if I would have took what is this dude's name?
I'm gonna remember it.
I can't think of it. You look it up.
Was it the kid was it Chad Muma? Was it that year?
No. It was before that.
Okay, I'll find it.
Yeah, find that because it's going to bug the crap out of me. I can't remember his name right now. But yeah, I loved Bolton. I still do. I think he's awesome.
Bolton, he fell to 58th overall. That is insane. Crazy. I had him as a top 25 pick.
Check out that draft and see who the top linebacker was, because I'm pretty sure the one that I was thinking that we graded above him was actually drafted first linebacker out of the group. But we got Dez with another 5 bomb. Appreciate you, Dez. You're awesome, bro. How long you guys see this running going? Another 3 years, 5 before real rebuild is needed. To be honest, the way they're doing things, and if they can maintain these kind of really good drafts that Brett Veach is having, and they can keep the nucleus here, if they can figure out how to keep Chris Jones around, if they can figure out how to obviously figure out how to keep Patrick Mahomes here. They have to figure that out. That's just a given. They have to do that.
Right.
End of story. But then, of course, you got to people like Kelsey's getting older, man. You got to find somebody that can fill those shoes, and those are some big freaking shoes to fill. So a lot goes into it. But I mean, as far as like a full-on rebuild, I think you saw that last season, and we won a Super Bowl. I think that's pretty much as close you're going to see to a rebuild. Kind of like this year, we're still in sort of a rebuild mode. But I think that with Patrick Mahomes, you probably got another 7 years of Patrick Mahomes prime.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's going to be a good decade to be a Chiefs fan. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
But we appreciate the 5, Des.
Steve, Julia wants you to end the poll already.
Oh, I forgot all about
it. It has been going a while. 181 votes, by the way.
Good. Well, let's check it out. 56% says Sky Moore is going to be the one that breaks out this year. And then 20% went to Richie James. And
hey, man, we heard Tommy earlier saying MVS could be wide receiver 1. Nobody has a lot of faith in MVS. I mean, they just really don't
like MVS because they think MVS is overpaid. And that's a good argument to have. You could say that. But I do think that MVS, we've said this a lot too, and I'm sure you guys get tired of hearing us say it, but MVS could have went off last year if him and Patrick Mahomes were just a little bit more on the same page. And I saw some people talking about it in our comments to our podcast earlier. Once again, if you didn't catch the video pod that we released earlier today, go check that out when you're done here if you have time, man. I mean, if not, book it up for in the morning. Let's get that going. But there were some guys in comments talking about Patrick Mahomes looks like he's throwing a better ball this year in the camp than he did all last season. And I don't disagree with him. Patrick Mahomes had slight accuracy issues at times last year because he missed MVS a lot of 7-point catches. I'm talking MVS can burn a defense. He can burn a defense, and you just got to get the ball on point. But it goes both ways. They got to have that chemistry together.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe what happened with Mahomes last year a little bit is he was getting in his head a little too much because everybody was like, Mahomes got to start taking the check down. He's got to start taking what the defense gives him.
Mahomes
he really stuck to
what
it.
He needed to do last year. He played. I would have to say it might
but when gunslingers can't sling, right?
Right.
When gunslingers can't sling and they got to be they feel a little claustrophobic in that pocket.
Yeah.
And I just think maybe he aimed a little bit last year, and this year you might see a lot better. Patrick Mahomes was just slinging it.
I would say mentally last year, was Patrick Mahomes' best year as a pro.
Steve, let me bring up this. Let me bring up this screen for you here. I know who you were talking about. So on our linebacker list, we did have Micah Parsons rated higher.
Yes, there we go. That's the man.
Well, it was Micah Parsons, but we actually had Zaven Collins higher too from Tulsa.
Yes,
I remember I had Zaven Collins.
Those were the two guys that we had above Nick Bolton.
And then the Kentucky guy, Jamin Davis.
Ooh. Hey, man, he was a monster, though. He
was a monster. He was very hit or miss. And I had Jamin Davis, or Jamin, however you pronounce it. I had him and Bolton as 3A, 3B. And it didn't matter which one went first. I just thought they would be the third. So that would technically be 3 and 4.
Good God, look at that pick right there, dude. Tennessee Titans took Caleb Farley, 22nd overall. This guy's played like 2 games.
Hey, look up here.
That's sick, dude.
The Giants.
Kadarius Toney,
baby.
Hey, at least he's played more than Caleb Farley.
Right. Jason Oweh went in that draft as a defensive end. But here it is.
There's a lot of speculation that we were going to go after Jason Oweh.
Joe Tryon from Washington, I did not have ranked that high. I thought that was a weird pick by Tampa Bay.
That was another one that people were trying to project to the Chiefs a lot, was Joe Tryon.
Right. Him. And then there was one more linebacker. Yep, here he is. Azeez Ojulari, but I'm pretty sure there was a different one. Yep, right here. Owusu Koromoa from Notre Dame. He went to Cleveland. All these guys they had projected higher than Nick Bolton, and I actually had Nick Bolton above JOK and Azeez Ojulari. And I had him above Joe Tryon, too.
I think we had him above Jamin Davis, too. I think we had him at 3.
Like I said, they were 3. They were tied for 3. We said you could go either way.
Davis was more of a raw guy. You knew he had to get a little bit of work in, but I feel like Nick Bolton was just pro ready.
What a draft class for linebackers, though, right? And then look at this. Creed all the way down here. Like, if you could redraft.
What a draft for the Chiefs,
If you could redraft, do you think
they've done
Creed
that.
Humphrey goes anywhere?
Yeah, dude. People's redrafted. I've seen redrafts of this. Our buddy Broshmo over on his channel, he does redrafts sometimes. Creed Humphrey gets taken in the top 10 picks almost every time, and Nick Bolton gets taken in the first round every time. So yeah, what a draft. And then we got Trey Smith that draft as well.
Hey, I'm just coming down this draft and looking.
You keep on looking. Tommy Smith says MVS catch radius and speed is crazy. I think it's worth the money, especially for Mahomes. If they can get on the same page, man, he'd be worth every penny. But I'm with you. He's got a crazy catch radius and his speed's insane. But he has to get more aggressive, high pointing balls.